Hello everybody, we are straight into the grid tonight. On pole is Jeff Connell. Second is Brendan Whitaker. On the second row is Chris Whitaker and Reese Gosner. The lights are ready, they are about to get racing at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Here we are, back to the grid. Reese Gosner in 4th, Jack Atkinson in 5th, Matthew Brunt in 6th. Jason Close is in 7th with Ben Faulkner in 8th. And then Sam Chapman and Kevin Henderson round out the top 10. We have got all cars on track, they are ready to go. The engines roar. And no racing. Looks like not the best start for third place. One of the winners. No, it's fine actually. It looked a bit slow, but I think it was okay. We've already got the cars going side by side, as we always do, on a Wednesday night in the Toyota GR86s. There's a bit of bump drafting already between the two Whitakers, going around the corner by the looks of it. If not, they are mighty close without touching. They are in a battle for second place, and they got Reese Gosner in 4th. Looks like the front three have broken away a little bit, even just around the first corner. Perhaps Reese Gosner is just catching them up for here, carrying a lot more speed towards the end of the corner. We saw a bold move up the inside there by Braden Sagsa. Not sure if he was defending or attacking, it's hard to tell. There's so much chaos going on. And another move here on the inside, overtaking Dom Grundy in 15th. So that'll be Dale Sharp making that overtake, just keeping a tighter line around that right-hander. We're now cut back to the top three. They've got Connell, Whitaker and Whitaker. As they come to this, the most important section of the track, certainly the trickiest section of the track, a double right-hander that's blind on entry and really tough, because if you don't open it up by going wide at that first corner as wide as you can without touching that curve, which will unsettle the car, you lose so much speed down this straight. So watch for the cars through there. The cars that look good through there will be quick here tonight at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Brendan Whitaker looking like he's in the slipstream of Jeff Connell. Is he going to make a move at the final? I said the final section of corners. It's hard to distinguish one corner from the other because they all lead into each other at this absolutely brilliant but not very well known circuit. There you go, they're side by side around the right hander. This then turns into a left hander.
Jeff's gone wide. He's going to lose to both.
Jeff has gone wide. He's going to lose to both Whitakers, and it's a Whitaker 1-2 here at the end of the first lap at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Brendan Whitaker in the lead, Chris Whitaker in second, Jeff Connell, he's starting off pole, he's down in third place after going wide at the penultimate corner. We then got Reese Gosner in 4th, Jack Atkinson in 5th and Matthew Brunt in 6th. Not too many big movers and shakers here at the moment. The biggest mover was Mark Gomez. He's gone up 6 places from 30th to 24th position, so that's a stellar first lap from him, particularly as we didn't see any major incidents. So he earned all those positions rather than getting them for free from other people making mistakes. We now look at the Vermilion Motorsport entry of Ben Faulkner. He's going up the inside of Jason Close, but he's going to be on the outside for the next corner, so he's backed out of it. This corner is not a corner you want to go too wide through. It's quite tricky, it's quite easy to lose control of the car, especially in this braking zone. You're really trying to straighten the car up before you get on the brakes, and if you're not straight, you're just gently going onto the brakes, trying not to spit the car into the grass. We will see that happen a few times, such is the difficulty of that section of the track. Behind Ben Faulkner, we've got Jason Close and then Sam Chapman, who's been strong all throughout the series in the top 10 yet again, with Kevin Henderson right behind him. Hopefully Kevin Henderson has a bit more luck this race. He's been looking to get some strong results, but just luck hasn't been on his side, been involved in a few incidents or just making mistakes. Hopefully he keeps it clean. This race would be nice to see him up there.
I'm probably going to jinx it here, but we're about to finish the second lap and I haven't had a single off track on my tracker yet from anybody.
That is absolutely amazing. Not a single off track from anybody so far.
There is. There
it is. We've jinxed it here in the commentary box. We've got Greg Paget falling down the order, as is Jared Gilbert. I wonder if there has been a collision there. I'm sure our producer for tonight will bring it to us. As always, it is Adam Lavis putting on all the hard yards to bring you the broadcast here tonight. Let's have a look. Here we've got Darren Mason. He's in the middle of this pack. Oh, he just has to get out of it, trying to avoid the Subaru. Cuts across the grass. Keeps it under control, gets back on the track, nothing too bad there. There was another car off track we just saw at the end. Here we're going to see what happened to Greg Paget. Greg Paget's on the outside there in the white ping entry. And then the car on the inside just widened to him, hits him, and then a third car gets caught up in that collision. Not sure who that was. That's just bad luck, not enough time to react. Easy mistake to make, a little bit clumsy, but you know, that's what's going to happen. We've got a whole range of skill sets here tonight. Some drivers are really quick. You see them at the front of the race. We've got some less quick drivers, but they are all racing their own race. And we just saw Anthony Adshead have a bit of door banging there around that corner, and that sent him off the track. And now we're going to catch up with Brendan Van Ritten. Yeah, we definitely jinxed it with the comment about there being no off tracks.
Hey,
As soon as we said that, there's been a heap of them.
2 laps is good. That's a good run for those guys, especially with the close proximity of those 2 laps.
It is a good run for these guys. It's a very, very technical track, as I've already alluded to. We've got a whole range of skill levels in the race here tonight, which is wonderful. That's what we like to see after all. This isn't one of those championships that's trying to place itself as the very best or where the elite of the elite go. This is where the everyman goes. Some of these drivers are very, very quick in 4, 5, 6,000 iRating, even higher. Some of these guys will be below 1,000 iRating, and that's good. We want all comers here as long as they can. For the most part, race safely. We just saw the 2 Whitakers almost colliding there because Brendan in front just caught the grass, just had to get out of the throttle, and then Chris almost walloped him in the back because he was carrying more speed. Let's see, look at the 3 of them. They are head to tail right here at the front of the grid for the 3 most important positions, first, second, and third, of course. They're going to come down this. Go on.
I was going to say, you were saying that this is the everyman race, but these top 4 have been basically the front 4 for most of the season, so they always seem to find themselves at the front fighting for the wins. Oh, look out, Matt's gone.
Yeah, these 4 are the elite of the elite in this class. We'll just see Matthew Brunt just spinning. I'm not sure if there's a lot to come back. It looked like it was just by himself, but I'm sure we'll get a replay of that to find out. Yes, these front 4 drivers, Brendan Whitaker, Chris Whitaker, Jeff Connell and Rhys Gosner, they are at the front time and time again. Race 1, race 2, when it's a reverse grid, it doesn't matter. They are always at the front, such as their class, and they give everybody else a stable market to aim for. You can measure whether you're improving by how close you get to those drivers, such as the consistency of their performance at the front of the field. As we watch, Braden Sagsar, fantastic move around the outside at one of the really difficult corners on this track, and he's going to make it work. Well-deserved position now. That was an absolutely fantastic move on Kevin Henderson to take 9th place, take a bow. As we're going to see more side-by-side action with Jason Close trying to send it up the inside of Ben Faulkner in the Vermilion Motorsport entry. Not quite able to make it at the first corner. He'll be brave to try it at the second corner. It's a long left-hander, downhill, really easy just to overcook it and end up off the track at the exit. However, you can set yourself up, if you do it well, for this next corner. It is a right-hander and one of the heavier braking zones on this track. And no moves there currently, not as heavy as the next one. Let's have a look at the replay of Matthew Brunt. Yeah, just getting his line all wrong, getting up the inside of the car ahead and just smacking into him and going off the track. Yeah, I don't know how much that was. I think he might have deliberately been trying to go to the inside to make the move and then realised that it just wasn't going to work, wasn't sure what to do. Ended up colliding the car in front and off the track as we watched some bump drafting between the Whitakers. We've seen this has been a bit of a staple for this series actually. We've seen bump drafting about 2 or 3 races this year. Interesting that they're stable enough to do that. It's really interesting. We're going to see now Connell getting in on the action, just giving Brendan a little bump, who loses the lead to Chris. Chris going around the outside at the first corner of the final section of corners. You have the right hand and the left hand, and then this right handle at the final corner. It's a corner that is quite tight. It looks quite tight, but you can carry a lot more speed through it than you would think. It looks like quite a tight 90-degree corner, but actually you don't need to brake that much to get around it, such as the grip that you have at that corner. Particularly because you've already slowed down coming off the left hand. You may be braking down from 4th to 3rd and getting through there. Probably only scrubbing off certainly less than 30 Ks, I would say. Really not much I found when I was doing some practice around here. Not that I was as quick as these guys at the front, of course. We've now got, so they might tell you something different. We're now not taking our eyes off this battle because it's fantastic. Looks like Chris has just broken away a little bit. He's got past his brother and he's decided to put his foot down, already building that lead out to ½ second, which is the biggest lead we've seen all race, almost halfway through the race now, which is a sensational thing to say. With Braden Sagasol, we've seen him do a fantastic move around the outside once. Is he going to try and do it again? Oh, who's that going down the field? That is Jack Atkinson. Name I don't recognise, so it must be a name that hasn't been in the series that much, or at least if he has been in the series and not at the front. Having a really good race. He was 3rd quickest in practice. Putting a good qualifying performance, running safely in the top 10, just coming unstuck here at the most difficult corner on the track. You can see it's a long up the right-hander. You're trying to get as wide as you can to open up that second right-hander. Looks like he's just touched the curbs, unsettled the car and sent him into a spin. He will not be the only person to do that, and indeed we're seeing another car do a similar thing. Sean Rees carrying a bit too much speed, trying to open up the corner, going all the way off track and doing well to keep it out of the tyre wall. Very easy just to slide, damage your car and pace him out of the race. But he'll rejoin Indeed he has in 22nd, and he'll hope to make some positions before the end of the race, because this is a track that you can overtake at. It's hard, but you can do it. We're now watching Matthew Brunt. We saw him up in the top 10 earlier on, having a bit of an incident. He is now in 16th, and he'll be looking to make back some places. He's down 10 from the starting position, starting in 6th, and he's within half a second of Jack Atkinson, who was another driver in the top 10. So we'll have to watch the progress of these two and see if they can get towards that reverse grid pole of 10th place before the end of the race. It'll be hard. They've only got 6 minutes left to do it, but they have shown they have great pace. We're now going to cut across to Stuart Ellis. Stuart Ellis is in 10th place, hunting down Kevin Henderson. He's currently on that reverse grid pole and really fighting Pete Matson to try and defend that. Pete Matson having a great race so far. Usually not in the top 10, but he is in 11th place right now. So he will be incredibly happy if he can make one more position and get onto that pole. Just seeing Dale Sharp fall down my timing screen, so I believe he's been in an incident there. He is slowly reversing into the tyre barrier. I think he's going to get on track and get out of the way. Yes, safely gets back on track, which is what we'd like to see. We're now going to cut across to Matt Smitke. Matt Smitke is in 13th place, racing with Dom Grundy for 12th. They are side by side. Behind them, they've got Jack Atkinson and Brett McCullen, and Matthew Brunt also involved in this. Matthew Brunt is in the white car. Oh, Matt Smitke touching the grass. Oh. Manages to control it, did very well to keep it on the black
that
stuff there.
A very mistimed little dropout from the unit there. That was very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Is he going to hold on to this position? He tries to hang out around the outside. That's a brave manoeuvre, and he's pulled it off. He's going to keep that position if he can stay ahead into the next corner. He can. He's got a much better speed, and in fact, it looks like the car behind him, which is Brett McMullen, might lose position to Russell Belcher, going all the way around the outside. Brett McMullen getting on the curves on the inside. You saw the back end to how he's sliding across those curves as the car bottoms out. Manages to keep control and stay in the fight of Russell Belcher, but Russell Belcher taking the spot. Is he going to try and make a move at the next corner? We won't know because we're watching Jason Close now in a really tight battle. It's Jason Close followed by Ben Faulkner, followed by Braden Sagsar and Sam Chapman. They're all within a second. Not of each other, the whole four is within a second. So these places are live and up for grabs before the end of the race in about 2 laps time. Let's just have a look at what happens here. So just to place you on track, we're going down the long straight, heading into the final section of corners.
I think we might squeeze 3 laps here.
We might just squeeze 3 laps, depending on when
if they cross the line before 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yes, we might just make 3 laps. So 3 minutes and 4 seconds. That's the time to watch. I think they will cross it before then because the leaders are already coming up to the corner. So we'll get another 3 laps. Oh, look how close they were! Millimeters away from each other. So close to taking out the car in front. Great position driving from Ben Faulkner there, staying as close as he can to Jason Close, trying to get the overtake. That was so close to being a disaster, but because of the brilliance of their driving, instead we saw some beautiful racing. Look at them all over that curve, getting as close to the wall as they dare on the inside. Let's have a look at here. Sean Rees, he's following the car ahead. The car ahead hits the curb. They both get out of the shape. Sean Rees eventually spins. He's been off the track a little bit this race, but I think with that one, we'll forgive him for that because he was definitely put off by the car ahead, I think it's safe to say. We're now going to cut back to the battle for the lead of the race. This is Brendan Whitaker up the inside of Chris Whitaker. Next corner is the long right-hander. I can say that quite safely because all the corners are long. What's going on here? So this is Braden Sagsar. We saw him going around the outside earlier, and there he is going up the inside of the Ben Faulkner and Vermilion Motorsport entry in the beautiful black and red livery that they are very happy with. He has got one of the locked cars behind him, which is Sam Chapman, who has been a mainstay in the top 10 this season, having one of his strongest GSRC seasons, I believe.
Indeed, he very much improved over the Christmas break.
Very much improved, and of course you'll have heard Sam Chapman commentating at times and doing broadcasts. He is very involved in the GSRC, which we thank him for. We're seeing Braden Sagasar on the outside yet again. That'll give him the inside line into this left-hander. He'll hold on, he'll defend, and he'll take his normal line actually through this final corner. The 90-degree right-hander, that's surprisingly quick. And look at the speed of the car behind. Look at Ben Faulkner. He's already put his nose to the right, saying, "I'm going on the inside of this corner. Don't you chop me off. Don't you dare." And he chops him off, but there is plenty of space for it. Ben Faulkner, oh, he goes wide. Just keeps it on the curves and flashing his lights or whatever. He's a little bit unhappy with Braden there. Whether he was just trying to pull him off, we'll see. It could have just been a bit of sportsmanship, well, a bit of gamesmanship, I suppose. Sportsmanship is when it's polite. Ahead of
Chapman.
we've got Chapman going up the inside. Lovely move there. But Ben Faulkner actually managed to get the inside and do a bit of an up and under there. Go around the outside here, and the tricky braking zone into the double right-hander, both going up the hill. And I think he's got the move done. Oh, it goes a bit wide there, which puts Sam Chapman up the inside. Has he got a better run? I imagine he has. Oh, he's going to tuck him behind him, try and get the slipstream. They got a long straight now. I call it a straight because there's no braking, but as you can see, it's quite a bendy straight. Before they go into the final section of 3 corners, a long right-hander followed by a tighter left-hander and then an even tighter right-hander, where you're constantly slowing down bit by bit. Really hard to keep the car under control. Really hard to do that and keep it on the perfect line, because if you get it wrong, you're compromised for the remaining corners in that sequence. So it's absolutely essential that you get every corner right. I was watching Braden Saxar. He goes up the inside of the penultimate corner. It's going to come on the outside for the final corner. He holds on around the outside, runs up on the curb, using all the track. He's on the outside from the first corner. He's going to have to do something quite special to get around. As we start the penultimate, we start the last lap of the race. We just saw friend Barney waving the right flag at the outskirts of the shot there. Sagasar hangs it on around the outside, gets a brilliant overtake done to take 5th place at the start of the final lap. That is one of the overtakes of the race.
He's off
oh no, he's off though! He's off though! Has he ruined it? He's hugging that curb on the inside, and not Ben Faulkner, Jason in close is going to get the position back. Is he?
And just remind that one of these cars is not getting the invert.
Right at the back of this field, he is 11th. Right at the back of this pack is 11th place. Only one car from this will not be in the top 10 at the start of the next race. This is the battle, not just for position to this race, but to start in the top 10, get that reverse grid pole. We see Pete Madsen just hanging on to the back, pack racing from 5th to 11th place on the grid. Fantastic. 15 minutes of racing and they have not been separated. Just like these 3 at the front. Brandon Whitaker a little bit ahead now, as we saw him a bit earlier on the race, but Chris Whitaker, Jeff Connell and Rhys Gosner are all in the battle for 2nd place going into the last couple of corners. Jeff Connell looks like he's going to win out unless Whitaker can do something special behind him at the final corner. I don't think he can. Connell gets a great exit and they cross the line. Whitaker, Connell, Whitaker, Gosner. The class of the field, a 6-second gap back to Jason Close in 5th, and then Pete Madsen just misses out on the reverse grid top 10, with Stuart Ellis taking the reverse grid top 10, finishing in 10th place. We'll just watch the other cars all bring it home. Not too much field spread. We're seeing that's the top 18 cars, and it wasn't. That's not too bad. About 30 seconds from 1st to 18th. Not even 30 seconds to 19th and 20th. Only 25 seconds between the top.
Darren's lost on the second last corner.
Oh no, you don't like to see that. He's going to bring it home. I think it cost him a position. There we go. He's going to finish in 25th place, 1 down from where he qualified.
It's actually a lot of chat on the radio. It's all good chat. Everyone was really excited about the good racing there. So good to see the boys enjoyed themselves in that race. Yeah, really good to see. I don't think we saw many incidents. We saw a few cars going off, but it was mostly by themselves, which was really lovely to see. 31 cars taking part in the race, and pretty much everybody being in really great battles. Excitement up and down the field. So I second that. Awesome driving from everybody. The first race on your Wednesday night smorgasbord of racing that we've got for you at the GSRC. Here's your results for Sprint Race 1. Brendan Whitaker takes the win. Jeff Connell in 2nd. Chris Whitaker in 3rd, and then Gosner in 4th. Close is in 5th, followed by Faulkner and Sagazar, who pull off some excellent manoeuvres throughout the race. Sam Chapman comes home 8th, Henderson in 9th, and then Stuart Ellis gets pole position for the next race, finishing in 10th place. Pete Madsen just misses out. He's in 11th place, but he'll be happy anyway. That's a strong result for him. We then got Jack Atkinson, who we saw in the top 5 at the start of the race, just having an incident and falling back down, as did Matthew Brunt, who finished 13th in the end. Grundy finished in 14th, followed by Smitke, Mick Mullen, Mitchell, Belcher, Nichols, and Van Ryn rounds out the top 20. But there's a few more cars that scored points. Harris comes home in 21st, Gomez in 22nd, Adshead in 23rd, Dale Sharp in 24th, and then Mason, despite his incident on the penultimate corner, brings it home for the final point in 25th. Cars that didn't get a point include Gilbert, Reese, Paget, King, Latta, Bullock, and Howe. Not long to wait before we go on.
I was going to say, it's this Motorsports Park. One of those tracks we come every now and then. It's a great track, great racing, especially with the lower horsepower cars. Even like Indy cars are all fun around here as well. GT3s have come here as well. They had a decent race. It's just one of those tracks, just because of the way the track flows. On paper, it doesn't look like it'd be a sort of a passing racing type track, but just with the undulation and the trickiness of that bottom hairpin, it always provides good racing. It's a great little circuit.
It reminds me of the section at Silverstone, Luffield. Just around Luffield, you've got that beautiful switchback, corners with different radiuses, and it just leads to fantastic racing down on the straight to Copse. You've got a few sections here that just remind me of that, just the way the track flows. It's wonderful. It just sets up side-by-side racing so easily. It's absolutely wonderful. But yeah, not a well-known track. IndyCars around here, that would be amazing. I'm gonna have to, I think when the broadcast is over, I might have to sneak on and drive the IndyCar around here a bit. IndyCar's fun at every track, but I think around here, you're right, it would be spectacular. As would the USF 2000 or the Indy Pro. Not that we can show them on streams anymore.
And Skippies and Formula V, very fun.
Yeah, Skippies and Formula V are fun at both tracks though. Here is your grid for the second race of the night. Stuart Ellis is on pole position with Henderson on the front row alongside him. We've then got Chapman and Sagasar on the second row, Faulkner and Close in 5th and 6th, Gosner and Whitaker on the 4th row, and then Connell and Whitaker round out the top 10 with Chris Whitaker ahead of Brendan Whitaker there. We're just waiting for the final cars to join the grid. As you can see, there's about 3 or 4 cars in the top 10 not on the grid. The lights won't come on until all the cars are ready or until the timer runs out. That's how iRacing works, which is why it can catch us by surprise. Sometimes we think we have a little bit longer before the race starts and then everybody grids up immediately and the race begins. Here is the points so far. Connell lead the championship and then a pipe battle between the Whitakers and Nixon, who does not seem to be here tonight. So that's going to put a spanner into that battle unless he has an extra Steve. So Chapman getting a good start there, takes Henderson off the line and secures it coming down into the first corner. A bit of movement throughout the pack, as you would expect for the first corner. Don't see too many cars actually side by side, giving a lot of respect to each other throughout the first corner because it's so tricky down there. Tight. We're just seeing, I think that's Ben Faulkner there at the head of that sort of pack with the green car behind him. Oh! Darren Mason starting the last race as he ended the first race, pointing in the wrong direction. That's would be interesting to see what happened there. Didn't quite catch the start of that. Don't know if he lost it by himself, but certainly one of the cars there getting taken out just because he's finding a car pointing the wrong way in the middle of the track and was unable to avoid it, which is bad luck, sad to see. But
we lost one in front of you.
Oh, who's this? I think we've lost Stuart Ellis. Stuart Ellis, who was on pole position at the start of the race. He's lost it at the really tricky double right-hander, and it looks like Brett McMullen's also gone off. I believe there were separate incidents, because I don't think Brett McMullen was in that top 10. But, yes, that's it. We've already lost our pole position man, which leaves Sam Chapman at the lead of the race with Sagsar behind him. We've seen Sagsar not afraid to pull off some audacious moves in the first race, and I dare say he's going to pull off another audacious move here as he tries to go around the outside of Chapman. A little bit of door banging. Did they touch? I think they did. He's going to get the inside for the next corner. Chapman's not going to give it up. He's going to go all the way over the outside and try and carry more speed, so he has the inside for the final corner. Sagsar's going to go around the outside. I think Chapman took off quite a bit of speed to make sure he didn't wash out into Sagsar. He is going to have the inside line for the first corner here though, but it is such a fast corner, it doesn't help you that much. He's all over the curb, a little bit of a touch there. Brilliant
touches everywhere.
Here. It's absolutely beautiful. I think there's touching behind them as well. Everybody not wanting to give an inch around this track. We now see Sagsar actually building a bit of the lead, carried a lot more speed for that corner than some of the cars behind him. As we watch, I think this is close, shoving it up the inside of Henderson in the FedEx entry. Gets the move done, and I think Whitaker's going to follow him through. Chris Whitaker, the lead Whitaker at the moment, with Brendan Whitaker just behind Kevin Henderson. So you've got Chris in the yellow car and then Brendan in the green car. I'm saying that as much for myself as I am for everybody that is watching here tonight. We're now watching Jason Close. He's in 4th place. Ahead of him is Ben Faulkner in 3rd, and then behind him is Chris Whitaker. All 3 incredibly fast drivers, capable of some absolute brilliance when the mood takes them. Out in front is Sagasar. He's been superb in race 1, superb in race 2 so far, and he is in the lead of this race. Sam Chapman fought him hard for it, but He's just dropped back a little bit, not by much, only 2 or 3 attempts, but they're not touching, and I think they were touching for the whole of the first lap. Jason Close now looking like he might go around the outside, and Ben Faulkner here as he entered this last complex corners, long right-hander, slowing down a little bit as you enter this left-hander then. Faulkner ahead of Close still, and now the final corner track, the 90-degree right-hander. Jason Close coming under pressure now from Chris Whitaker right behind him. Look at this, 3 wide down the main straight. Is it going to be? No. Jeff Connell just blocking off Reese Gosner there. And Brendan Whitaker somewhere in the middle of the two of them. Oh, Brendan Whitaker being shown the curb. Manages to keep it straight. Got 2 tyres on the grass. It's so easy to get 2 tyres on the grass and just end up in the wall there. But not Whitaker, he keeps it straight. Connell then going a bit wide. Loses the position to Whitaker and invites Gosner to attack him into the next corner. No, he doesn't go. He doesn't go for the bait. Connell covers him off, and Gosner quite wisely pulls out of it and decided it's not worth losing the front of my car and perhaps the race because of it. We're now watching Whitaker and Close go side by side, with Whitaker just sliding in behind Close before they get to the corner. Connell now putting a lot of pressure on the other Whitaker, and he's spun. Brendan Whitaker's spun. He's off the track. Did you see if there was a touch there?
I didn't see it, no.
I couldn't quite make it out. I'm sure we'll get a replay to you quite quickly there. Sagasa, apologies, Sagasa, that I've been pronouncing your name wrong. I'll endeavour to get it right.
We were saying Sagasa for ages until he corrected this story, so we've all fallen into the trap.
Well, I couldn't even pronounce your name when I first heard it, so it doesn't have to be a complex name for me to struggle to pronounce it, and the complex ones I can definitely struggle to pronounce, particularly when there's lots of A's. I struggle with A's thanks to where I came from. In England, where hard in some days are too much interchangeable, and that's why I treat them in names, even though that's not correct. Anyway, and for the aside, because it's too much racing for us to have too much of an aside, with Jason Close right behind Ben Faulkner. This is a battle that's been going on for at least a lap now. Thankfully, we've got plenty more laps to go. 25 minutes of racing here in the second race, 10 minutes more than the first race, which is absolutely wonderful. I can watch these cars around here all night, particularly when you've got class acts like, I'm going to say it again, it's not Sagasa, it's Sagasa. Sagasa at the lead of the race. Then Chapman, Faulkner, Close, Whitaker, Henderson, Connell, Gosner, Brunt and Atkinson. So much class in this top 10. It's hard to take your eyes off it. We're now going to bring you a replay. We'll have a look at what happened with Darren Mason at the first lap. So this is the first lap. So he just touches the grass on the inside, gets the slide on, hits the wall, that pushes him back across the track and gets collected by another car. Really hard to do anything there when the pack is so tight at the first corner and the second corner. You go off track, you end up back on track, people aren't going to be able to avoid you. It's a bit of a bad luck there. So Brett just getting out of shape, touching the wall, coming back up. We just saw the back end of his crash earlier on the race was because we were watching the other car, which was Stuart Ellis, who took pole position, so he spun off, and then you're going to see the yellow car, Brett McMullen, just enter your shot before the end of the replay. There he is! Both drivers coming unstuck at that corner, not surprised, the hardest corner on the circuit. Certainly the corner I found the most difficult. It's a blind uphill right-hander, and you can't sacrifice any speed because you need to get your line right, otherwise you compromise yourself.
Hey, Brendan was already losing the rear of the first apex.
Brendan, you just saw there, carrying a bit too much speed, starting to lose the rear, and then finishes it off at the second apex. Not sure if there was a slight touch, but even if there was, it was only because he would have been losing speed during the slide. We're now watching Sam Chapman trying to defend second place. He already lost first to Sagasa, but he's determined not to lose second. But he has no. I apologise. Ben Fulton is now in second place, and Sam Chapman has dropped all the way down to 6th place.
He got swamped after making that mistake.
Yeah, it's when you got such tight racing, you just get swamped if you make a mistake. It's pass or be pass. We've heard that phrase a few times, and it's definitely true around here. You make one mistake, get up on the outside, you lose momentum, and it'll also compromise you into the next corner more often than not around here. Just such as the flowing nature of this track, and you lose a small mistake that a normal track might cost you a second, maybe a half second, it cost you a second or two just because it compromises you for the next corner as well as coming on. Watching Madsen, he finished the first race on the level. He's down in 14th, trying to defend his spot. He's going to go up the inside here. Oh, he's just misjudged that. Touched the Hooters car ahead. sends them both off. Tech gets another nudge for his troubles. That sends
Mark
another
Holmes
car
as
off.
well.
We were just saying about how he's having a good race, but yeah, a little bit clumsy there. Just carrying a bit too much speed, trying to defend his position. Hits Russell Belcher ahead of him, and then collects. Did you see who the third car was?
That was Mark Holmes.
Mark Gomes as well. A shame there. Some really good. Yeah, some good racing there.
I see the name there. You just expect to have an N there, but there's no N.
Yeah, absolutely true. We're now watching a Whitaker here. Chris Whitaker trying to get around the outside of Jason Close. Doesn't quite have the speed to do it. You follow him through here. Look at how, look, it's blind, but I still can't see it. There you go. Now you can see the outside. Giving quite a bit of space there to the outside. Only deciding it's not worth trying to get those last few inches, such as the risk of that corner. And you're into that tight right-hander. Back down the hill, which leads you onto the straight, so you can't compromise it because you look at how long the straight is, you lose so much time. And now what we're seeing is the effect of the slipstream. Whitaker right behind Jason Close, getting faster. Car in front, braking the air for him, giving him some nice empty space to drive into, maximising his top speed. He's not going to make a move there. Bo keeping it really tight around the first right hand. Opens up this second corner, the left-hander. You can see there's a nice rubbered in part of the track that they are following there. You don't want to hit that curb on the inside too hard. It will unsettle these cars a bit and just can cause you to go wide at the last corner. He gets a better exit here, comes up along the inside. Is there a touch? There is a little bit of a touch, but both cars not unsettled by it. I think they're fine. Yeah, there it is. I was just nervous there. I thought the other car might have gone off the track, but he has stayed on the track, and they are side by side going for the next corner. Brilliant camera shot here, brought to you by West Orange Motors. We get all of the onboards, and now we cut to the Skycam, brought to you by Waste Options, so we can show you the relative positions of the cars on the track. Get a little less of the sense of speed, but boy, do you get all the detail you need to know exactly where everybody is. Look at them, they're slowing each other up so much. Like Kevin Henderson and Jeff Connell now looking to get involved. This is a 5-car battle pack with 15 minutes of the race remaining to go. The battle pack starting in third place, second place, and then going all the way down to 6th, 7th, 8th place. More and more cars. Every time I look, more and more cars are joining the battle pack. We're now cut to Brendan Van Ryn. He's in 18th. He's defending from Charlie Mitchell, who's looked like he's trying to go around the outside there. Decides to get out of it, come back in behind. We're now going to cut to Kevin Henderson. He's in 4th place, defending from Jeff Connell in 5th. Behind them is Sam Chapman, who was still running in 2nd for a long time before he made a mistake and let a few cars through. Reese Gosner, fastest car on the track. He's the green car in 7th place. And then behind them, you've got Matthew Brunt in 8th. And then a bit of a gap to Jack Atkinson. So 2nd to 8th, basically running line astern here. Anybody in the top 10, pretty much anyone in the top 10, could end up on the podium here tonight. All it takes is 14 minutes of flawless driving and some overtakes. Watching Hendo here, he's got Sam Chapman right behind him. Will Sam Chapman go for an overtake? Just going to call it out. Out front, Sagasa has maintained a second lap over Chris Whitaker at the moment. So he's having a fabulous race, managing to match or go faster than Chris Whitaker currently. We'll have to wait to see if that changes and we get a racing lead towards the end of the race. You're watching Jason Close. He's still side by side with Chris Whitaker. This battle has been on and off for the last few laps, side by side for a few corners.
And this battle is helping out. I guess especially when they're doing that.
Oh! Look at that! Tapping the inside, Jason Close. Reminiscent of Hamilton at Silverstone last year. The two cars in front battling, and he decides, you know what? I'm just going to go up the inside of both of you. You slow each other down, and you're going to lose out to me. They're now side by side, the three of them.
That's a rolling start.
It is. It does look like a rolling start. Bit Noah's Ark there, 2x2 going down the straight. But no, they've decided that's enough of that. We're going to go 3 wide into the start of the penultimate start of the final complex of corners here. So you've got Close close at the front in the red and white car, then Connell in the black and gold car, up the inside of Chris Whitaker, who's dropped down 2 positions. He finds himself now in 4th place. Behind him you've got Reese Gosner, and then Sam Chapman in the black and red car, Kevin Henderson in the FedEx car, and then Matthew Brunt in the white car at the back. We're now watching Close. He still leads the way. He's got Connell right behind him. Look at how close he gets to the wall, not wanting to give up an inch of speed, carrying as much speed as he can through this corner so that he does not come under pressure at the next corner. It might not have worked though, because Connell is right behind him. No, he's backed off a little bit, not wanting to make a move through this corner. Instead, he's going to try to set himself up out of here. Can he do it? He tucks in behind, and then Chris Whitaker punches it around the outside. Is he going to make that stick? I think he's going to stay on the road, but he's not going to make it stick. And in fact, he might even have Reece Gosner coming up around the outside of this corner, the downhill left-hander. No, he's up the inside still of Connell. They're coming to this tricky braking zone. I haven't seen too many cars getting unstuck there, which is a testament to everybody's driving here tonight. And then you go, so at the moment you've got Close, Connell, Whitaker, Gosner, Chapman, Brunt, Henderson. That's the order currently. There is still plenty of time for that change with 11.5 minutes of the race to go.
And also Jack Atkinson's joined this group too, so it's got a little bit leaguer.
He certainly has. He has joined the group. He's only 4 attempts behind Matthew Brunt, and then Henderson is actually fallen behind Atkinson. Atkinson's not just caught the group, he's overtaken someone. He's overtaken Henderson. Henderson now in 9th place at the back of this group, but then you got Ben Faulkner not far behind them.
Faulkner's trying to bring another 3 cars into the group, so it could be a big group soon.
Yeah, you got Faulkner, Smitke, and Grundy. You know what? I think it's already too late. He's already within 3/4 of a second. He's going to be getting the help of the slipstream, and this battle pack now goes from 2nd all the way down to 12th spot. You could finish on the podium, or you could finish outside of the top 10 if you're in this group. It all depends on how good your racecraft is, how much you can absorb the pressure and not make a mistake. We've seen plenty of mistakes here tonight.
Oh, Sam, it's a bold move. So that's what I was about to say. It's Toyota G86 Moto GP3.
It is Toyota GR86 Moto GP3. I absolutely agree. The Moto 3, if you do not watch it, just do yourself a favour, go watch it. Yes, it's Spike. Yes, it's magic that they stay standing, but it's absolutely phenomenal magic that produces great racing. Those Moto 3 riders do not know fear. However, you don't need to go there for great racing tonight, because we're bringing it to you here at the GSRC, and after the Toyota GR86s, we will of course be bringing you the Blackout electrical solutions Porsche Cup, which also promises to be a cracker because they are at Sandown, which is one of Australia's best racing circuits. Whitaker shaping up for another move on Close. Connell now at the lead of this pack, not able to break away. The tow is just too powerful and these drivers are too good to break away unless they really start battling between them. Gosner there, you could just see him setting up, making sure he was there to make him move on to. Sam Chapman going for an audacious move of the inside, doesn't manage to make it stick and doesn't manage to get enough of here, so he finds himself under pressure from the Shell V-powered racing entry of Jack Atkinson, who dispatched Henderson and is in 8th place. Henderson's in 9th. Behind him, you've got Ben Faulkner in 10th in the other Vermilion Motorsport entry. Behind him, you've got Matt Smitke, and then Dom Grundy in 12th place at the back of this pack.
It'll be interesting now if Chris Whitaker and Connell can work together. They might try to get this 4-second gap to Sagasa back to a reasonable level. So the battling for the last 2 laps has really blown that lead out. So Sagasa has now got a good 4-second gap. So he's just going to try and maintain that for another 8.5 minutes, and the win be his.
Yeah, he's got 8.5 minutes to maintain it. His best lap is a 32.25. Connell's best lap is a 31.79. So we know Connell does have a little bit of pace on Sagasa, but he's really going to have to put his foot down right now if he wants to get into the battle for the lead. There's 4 seconds to chase down. Let's call it a half-second gap there. That's going to take 8 laps to recover. I don't think it's on unless he can find more speed than he's shown so far in this race. We're just watching Jared Gilbert return to track after an incident. And of course, it's not easy for Connell because he's got Chris Whitaker breathing down his neck. Let's have a look what happened here. Gilbert is on the outside, touches the curb. All look good with there. A little bit of a touch there. Tried to go around the outside, wasn't really there. I don't think he said it wasn't alongside enough to be required to be expected space. I think strictly by the rules are for cars that you can't occupy that space at the GSRC because he got there so late. I don't think he expected to see him and know that he was there. So I think I'll put that one down to a racing incident. We then got Sam Chapman here. You can see in the body language just looking for any bit of gap. any bit of road he can put his car into that's going to let him get alongside the 2 cars ahead, because he does not want to be losing out. He wants to get back ahead of these cars. Oh, there goes Matt Schmidtke. He's off the track. He's out of this group. Manages to recover. He is 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds back of this group. He'll struggle to catch them back up. That looks like, I think that is a marker. That's Matson. I didn't see any names dropping down the field. Matson.
He's lapped down from earlier, isn't he?
Yeah, he's lapped down in 27th place. Started in 11th.
So Connell's gone wide out of the hairpin there, so that's not going to help their mission. They're back to square one, back to 4.3, so they've made no ground.
Yeah, I think we can kiss the win goodbye for Whitaker, Connell, Gosner, Brunt, and anybody else in this pack, because Sagasa is just driving too quick and he's too far away. As we look at Greg Paget returning to the track, and I think there was another car off the background, so I believe there might have been an incident here. Let's have a look. Ryan Harris coming down. This is the really tricky braking zone I was telling you about.
So Paget's lost in front, Harris is just trying to avoid.
Yeah, Paget loses it in front, and Harris perhaps picking up his boot, going wide. I think he'll recover without hitting the wall there. It wasn't carrying too much speed. So fingers crossed he's managed to do that.
As we were saying in the first race, like 3 out of the 4 have come back together again. So Brendan had a spin, so he's a bit back in the pack. But yeah, these 3 have now found themselves. So now, can they choo-choo train their way back up to Sagasa?
Yeah,
or will they just fight out amongst themselves? What's going to be the call here?
I think they're going to fight it out amongst themselves. I don't see them catching Sagasa. I think that horse has bolted, and I think they know the race is now for 2nd place. But that does not diminish the quality of the racing. Those 3 drivers, Whitaker, Cole and Gosner, they have been the class of the field. 3 of the people that are in the class of the field. Of course, Nixon is not here tonight. He's the one I'd put in that class of the field talk. And then, of course, Brendan Whitaker, he's in 13th. He's the one that has shown tremendous pace throughout the season, but just having a spin earlier on in the race, and that's put him outside of the top 10. You saw Dale Sharp just carrying too much speed and winding up off track in the tyre barrier, and I think that's the end of his race. Looking here now, this battle pack has just split up a little bit. I'm not going to go ahead and say that these this is how it's going to be to the end of the race. We've seen those battle packs expand and compress multiple times throughout this race as drivers start racing with each other. But Whitaker, Connell and Gosner just seem to have broken away a little bit. They're in their own little 3-car battle. And they got Matthew Brunt. He's a bit by himself. He's about a 2nd behind Gosner and a 2nd ahead of Close. You then got behind Close, Chapman, Atkinson, Henderson in a 4-car battle pack. Faulkner a 2nd off them in 10th, and then Dom Grundy in 11th place, battling with Faulkner for a spot in the top 10. Grundy is black and blue car on your screen. Ahead of him in the red and black Vermilion Motorsport entry is Ben Faulkner. Grundy having a great race, another name that I don't necessarily recognise, which tells me he's either a regular and he's driving outside of the skin,
pretty sure he's
a driver.
Pretty sure he's new to the league. I had to add him to my driver list in SDK, so I think he's a new member to the club, so welcome aboard.
There you go, he's a new member to the club. Welcome aboard, Dom Grundy. Hopefully you watch the broadcast and you get to see yourself mansion and enjoy that. I hope you have fun here at the GSRC.
Speaking of the broadcast, we now have an option for everybody. They can choose their platform. When I'm broadcasting, you can either go on my Discord, you can go on the club's Facebook, but I've also got YouTube working now, so you can search for the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club YouTube page, and would live broadcast on YouTube as well. So pick your platform, and if you want to subscribe or follow or whatever, help us out. Good luck.
Excellent news. Great work there, Adam, getting us live on YouTube. My partner has been asking for YouTube support since I started doing the commentary, because she finds Twitch confusing, and you can't on Facebook she can't figure out how to get on the TV, so she'll be happy it's on YouTube. Yeah. Much easier to get onto your TV.
The only downside with the YouTube is they don't, because it's a new channel created, and sometime in the past year or so they've taken away the option to make custom URL. So at the moment I've got a URL which is all gibbly goobly, so you just go search for it.
So there you go. If you need to get hold of the URL, I'm sure you can find it on our Discord, or perhaps I assume it comes up on the Facebook broadcast page as well.
I will. I didn't have time tonight because we're running late, but I will be adding it to the description of the Twitch and Discord broadcasts.
There you go. So we will be bringing that link to you in more and more places as that capability matures. And the link will be somewhere with a group that you will have to click on to get to YouTube image Kevin Henson. Oh, that car's not going anywhere. I think it's missing a front left tyre. Let's have a look what's happening here. To Henson. He's got Faulkner behind him. Faulkner just carrying so much more speed. I think Henderson perhaps had to get out of the throttle there because that is a flat out that downhill left-hander. Or perhaps he was getting on the brakes a little bit early for the next corner, or perhaps Faulkner was getting on the brakes a little bit late. It's hard to tell without seeing the traces and comparing them to previous laps. But the end result is Faulkner getting into the back of him, and that's the end of the race for Henderson. That's a real shame. He's having one of his better races in the season. He's not had much luck. So hopefully he can get back in the top 10 for the last 2 rounds of the season, which we'll be bringing to you in the next over the next 2 weeks. And you may have heard in the background, we are now into the final 2 laps of the race. So this is the penultimate lap. Sam Chapman is in 7th place. He's got Jason Close right ahead of him. Jason Close has fallen behind the top 5. So this is the second battle pack of the race, and this is the battle for the back end of the top 10. And I believe that was a car being sent off the track very, very quickly. It was Jack Atkinson. That's a real shame. Atkinson qualified in the top 10, had an incident in the first race, worked his way back up into the top 10, driving really strongly and getting a collision there. I need to see it again to make out the details of what happened. I just saw 2 cars sort of colliding. Not sure what caused it. Adam's very quick in the replays these days. Ooh, that's odd. That looks really odd. What's going on there? Oh, here we go. We've got a bit more of a lead up here. So we've got Atkinson ahead. Oh, it looks like it just gets... Is he just getting turned into by Faulkner? Or was he going straight? It seems weird to get an incident like that corner entry. So I'm not sure if that was just Faulkner trying to turn in when Atkinson has decided he was going to send him the long way around and go a bit straight and just delay his entry into the corner, or whether there was a bit of an incident or a mistake there from Atkinson which meant that he wasn't turning. I'll have to... Hopefully we can get one of them in the broadcast booth afterwards and find out what happened there. It was a bit... It just looked a bit... I'm not the only one, right? I think it looked a bit odd, that incident, so I'll hesitate to make a judgment until we can talk to at least one of the drivers involved, or we see the incident report at the end of the race, because I'm sure there will be an incident report given that one driver has ended up in the wall outright after running a strong race into the top 10. What that does do is leave this battle dwindled from what it was before. Here we've got Close at the head of this 3-car battle pack. Close followed by Chapman, followed by Faulkner, who's been involved in 2 incidents in quick succession. Sam Chapman there, and not getting a good run out of the corner, has put himself under a lot of pressure from Faulkner. Faulkner surely is going to send it down the inside here. Looks like he's got more speed going down the straight. Unless Chapman decides to defend. Chapman is looking like he's going to take a defensive line into that corner. Sagasa, however, untroubled out front. Got to the front early on the race, put on a fantastic move on Chapman. Took the lead, never looked back. Absolutely flawless victory. I believe his first in the GR86s, unless I'm very much mistaken. Congratulations, Sagasa. Absolutely brilliant driving and getting the tail wagging at the end of the race there. And then Connell and Whitaker round out the podium with Gosner right behind them. Jason Close finishes in the middle of these 2 battle packs with Chapman, Faulkner and Grundy taking 7th, 8th and 9th. Grundy, fantastic first race, mate. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you in the top 10 a lot more throughout the next few rounds of the GR86. 2 more rounds to bring you now that this is finished, to finish off the championship for 2023 Season 8, although I dare say, given the strong participation we've had, the 86s may be back next season. We'll have to wait and see what we're running next season when the committee next get together and make a decision. Watching Sagasa, absolutely flawless race. Can't use enough superlatives to decide him, to describe the race. Putting on a bit of a show for us here, getting his back end all wheeling. I'm not sure if he's trying to drift and failing. There was a little bit of a drift there. Yeah, nice, there we go. Love to see it. Really celebrating, and why not? So the final spot in the top 10
just to cover off that story for you, went to Brendan Whitaker in the end, making a recovery after a spin earlier on in the race. Biggest movers for you. Here we go. This is your feature race results. Sagasa takes the victory, followed by Connell at second and Whitaker takes the final spot on the podium. We then got Gosner in fourth, Brunt in fifth, Close in sixth, Chapman in seventh, Ben Faulkner in eighth, Dom Grundy in ninth, and a Whitaker in 10th. Behind him in 11th place we got Matt Smitsky. We then got Sean Rees, Paul Nichols, Charlie Mitchell, Brendan Van Ryn, Ryan Harris, Anthony Adshead, Greg Paget, Brett McMullen, and Jared Gilbert. A few names that I'm recognising as names that had incidents in the race, so there must have been quite a few incidents. Indeed. We've now been joined in the commentary box by Matt Smitsky and Braden Sagazart. Gotta go to you first, Braden. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you. Yeah. It was just trying to stay out of trouble, and as soon as I saw them battling, I thought I would just try and put the foot down.
And put your foot down, you did. Put out quite a big lead in the end. Was it 5 seconds at one point, I think?
Yeah. I think it got out to 5 seconds. I just made a couple of mistakes on the final lap, but kept it together for the whole race.
Just going to go back to race one as well. As much as you deserve to talk about your victory as much as you want, because it was a great victory. I saw some fabulous moves from you in the first race.
Yeah. It all goes down to the respect to the guys in the race. If they gave me no racing room, those wouldn't have been clean moves. But shout out to those guys. They gave me racing room. I gave them racing room, and it was great racing overall.
It seemed like there was no stopping you. You're going around the outside, going up the inside. Didn't matter which way they went. You just went the other way, and you got the move done.
Yeah. It was like I said, it's just respect with all these guys. These guys, they give us respect, and I give them respect, like I said. And yeah, it's always great racing in the GSRC.
Yeah, and particularly in the GR86s as well. They just cars up really great racing. They're fairly easy to control, but not so easy to be boring. And they are fairly slow, and it just, the battle packs in this race. At one point we had second down to 12th, all in one battle pack with you, then 4 seconds ahead of them.
I could see it in my rearview mirror. They were going at... So
I bet there was a part of you that was thinking, oh, you know what, I want the win, but it would be lovely to be in that battle pack as well, because it's so much fun.
Yeah, there was a little bit of me that said that, but then the other part of me was like, if I'm part of that, that's going to be scary.
Yeah, and particularly we saw it was from 2nd to 12th, so 10 cars in it, and then I think 3 or 4 of those cars ended up in the wall by the end of it, because it just happens when you got that many cars in close battling like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but it was great racing in the first race, and I enjoyed enjoyed the second race as well.
Yeah, lovely move on Sam Chapman, I think on lap 2 of the first race, which really set up the victory. I think without that, it would have been easy to end up in the battle pack, but because you got past him so early, and then Chapman put on a great defense, keeping the other cars behind him for a few laps, it made your race, that move.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I really enjoyed this race, and I did take a little break from the GSRC, but I'm delighted I came back.
Well, it's delightful to have you back. Hopefully we'll see you at the rest of the races, and hopefully we'll see more wins for you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So now we'll have a chat to Matt Smitsky. He was first come first serves here. Finished 11th in race 2 after finishing in 15th from race 1. Is that right?
Yes, I think I was a little bit more. I don't remember exactly in race 1, but yeah, race 2 I was at the back of that 10 cars for quite a while there, and then I made a bit of a mistake and ran wide. That was crazy, just watching everybody.
Yeah, I bet it was great fun just watching it, even if you were a little bit off the back and not quite as involved yourself as you'd like to be, because you had 10 cars ahead of you, just all side by side. Did you think, oh, you know what, I could just see all these cars taking each other out and me gliding up into 3rd place?
Yeah, I was definitely waiting for it, but there was a couple close calls, but everybody kept it reasonably clean.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of incidents after your mistake. Do you want to just talk us through what happened? You just get a bit wide, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's like the previous corner, I just went in a bit hot, and I think the tyres got warm because I was sliding and trying to keep position. I just ran a bit wide, and as soon as you hit the grass, you're just sliding, and I just hit the tyres on the outside there.
Yeah, it was a real shame because you were looking strong until then, and then you still finished ahead of where you started. So I guess that's still a good result. Do you think you could have made some progress into that pack had you not made the mistake?
Yeah, I think so, because I was ranging up on them for a while, mostly because I was on my own for a while there, and they were battling, so I could just put clean laps in. But yeah, I think had I been around them longer, I might have got a few more positions, maybe.
Yeah, well, we've seen you challenging the top 10 a few times in this series this season, so hopefully we'll get you challenging the top 10 a couple more times before the season is over.
Yeah, that's the plan. I was really hoping this week I might be able to get that 10th in the first race to start on pole, but I didn't quite get there. I think I was in 11th at one point, but yeah, just not quite.
It's really hard. Everybody really wants that 10th position. It's so easy just to miss out. So there you go, race 1 finished in 15th in the end. Only 6 seconds off the pole position, but look at that. So tight there. You got 3 cars ahead of you, all within a second.
Yeah, I think it was the second to last lap. Someone made a mistake in front of me and I dodged them, so I think the 3 cars behind me, they all come racing up down the back straight, and yeah, I just lost all positions to 2 or 3 of them there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That would correlate with what you were saying earlier about being close to that 10th position but not quite getting there, because that would have meant you were in 12th place with a couple of laps remaining before that incident. So that will make sense.
Yeah, that's about right.
Awesome. Well, good racing here tonight. Managed to move up in the second race, which is all you can really ask for. And yeah, hopefully we see you in the top 10 over the next couple of races.
Yeah, hopefully. It was good talking to you again. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, please do drop in whenever you like, buddy. And we'll move over to Chris Whitaker. Chris, battling all race long with Connell there. It seems to move through the top 10 together, and then a brilliant battle for second place. And I believe you finished in 3rd in the first race. I think it's 2 third places. Is that correct?
Oh, mate, first race was that long ago. I can't actually remember. But no, great battle with Jeff and all the guys in that second race. That was fantastic. It's one of the best races I've had on iRacing in a long time. That was great fun. But no, it was good, clean, hard racing. Bit of Ricky Bobby stuff down the long straight to make things interesting. But yeah, by the time we sort of cleared the other couple of fellows there, I just chewed way too much front tyre up and just had nothing to fight with. So unfortunately let Braden run away with it from there. But no, bloody good fun. Really good night at the office, and I'll try not to make it as awkward as last week.
Yeah, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Definitely cleaner racing than last week from all involved, which was really nice to see. Actually, a few incidents not involving yourself, but in that battle pack, which was from 2nd to 12th at one point. Which you come to you expect that when you've got so many cars in such all within half a second of each other. I've just seen one car going off in the background there. So how did you find the track? Because it's not a track many people know that well, but it's an absolutely wonderful track for racing.
I've lost you. I'm back.
You're back. Awesome.
I'm back. I'm not sure what happened there. I just completely lost you mid-sentence. I'm not sure what you're actually asking. So repeat the question. Sorry.
Thoughts on the track?
Oh, I love this place. It's an awesome track. It always produces really good racing. It's I guess the downside is because that straight is so long, it just it's impossible to break the toe. Okay, I shouldn't say it's impossible because Braden managed to do it in that second race. He did a bloody good job, but it's extremely difficult to break the toe if you've got sort of guys within a couple of tenths of a second. It's just on like DK, and as you saw at the start, it took a long time for us to be able to get through these other guys, because it's just you get a run and they get towed away, or you make a mistake and they get towed away, or whatever happens. So, but no, it was just really really good fun race this week, mate.
Yeah, looked a heap of fun. It was heaps of fun to commentate. I was definitely getting itchy feet to get in there, just watching it, because it looked like so much fun. I saw on the first, I think it was in the first race, you and Brendan started, I think, in both in the top 3. And were you bump drafting like pretty much in through the first corner?
First corner, I gave him a little one on the entry. I don't think we had any contact through the first corner after that. There's one through turn 2 on probably like 4 or 5 that got him a little bit unsettled, but Jeff had a run on me, so I couldn't get out of the throttle. The nose of the old girl, I think about every car in the field would have been a bit crunched up in real life if that's where we're at. But no, I was just blown away to have a field of what we had, 30-something cars, 31, 32 cars, and there's always going to be an incident here and there, but the radios weren't blowing up like they usually are most weeks. It's especially on a track like this, and particularly on the cold tyre, it's super sketchy. You make one wrong move around here on the cold tyre and it's all over. Because how bumpy it is and stuff as well. Yeah.
Because I brought up the fact on the first race, we almost did 2 full laps without a single off track from anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we did have something really, really weird when Jeff got back through me in that second on me, and he was always going to do it. He was quicker, but when he got through on that corner there on turn 3 in that second race, I think the 3 of us all had the same issue where it literally just all of a sudden felt like we had a flat tire. Turned the corner and the cars just all went straight ahead. We all went super, super wide. Normal braking marker. I've checked back. My brake traces are nearly identical to every other lap. And they just didn't want to turn. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. It was, I don't know, Braden might have dropped a bit of oil there or something for us. I'm not sure what was going on. But that was something very very odd that I haven't experienced before in my 8 or 9 years of iRacing.
Maybe
bit of Mario Kart hacks and chucking some banana peels on track.
Yeah, exactly right.
I was going to say, maybe the sneak testing for the rain that's coming at some unspecified point in the future.
Oh, hashtag soon.
Right, so here is the updated positions for you in the driving standings. So we've got Jeff Connell, first place on 346 points. He's got quite a healthy lead over yourself, Chris, who's now in second place on 295, with your brother behind you on 270. So that gap's opened up a little bit, I think. And then you've got Close and Gosner behind you. It's pretty tight there from about certainly from 3rd to 6th, which is yourself, Connell, yourself, your brother, Close, Gosner, and Nixon. It's really clear that the 6 of you have been the class of the field throughout the first 8 rounds.
It's going to be, assuming that we've got an 86 series coming next season again. I mean, not to count the chickens before they hatch, but I think we've got a big enough field every single week to justify having it again. But next season's really going to be on like DK. We've all got a lot of work to do to catch up to Jeff. He just seems to magically, as I said last week, takes those sandbags out after practice and finds himself an extra couple of tenths that no one can see where they came from. It was a little bit closer this week, but we've got a bit of work to do to catch up to him. But as you say, I think with that top 5 there, particularly Reese, he's come on leaps and bounds the last couple of rounds, and good to see him up into 5th in the championship now, and he'll be one to watch for the next couple of weeks. I reckon we'll see Reese sitting in 4th by the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see so many drivers all within a shout of winning at every single bit like the Marquez of a couple of years ago. He's the one that was always battling for the win, and then every week would have one of a selection of rivals challenging him.
And he's always been quick. We've been racing with Jeff for a long time now in GSRC, and he's always been super, super quick. Just the consistency probably hasn't quite been there a few times, and a couple little mistakes that used to creep into the game. But he's definitely tuned up the buggy and worked out what he needs to do, and can just punch those laps back to back to back, which is just it's nuts. But second week you're saying, Jason, that was a bloody wild race. I reckon I've lost about 5 kilo that I didn't have to lose.
Yeah, I dare say you have. It's just the amount of stress. And it was only, thank God, it was only a 15 and a 25-minute race. Imagine if it had been a 45-minute race. You could just see that continuing on indefinitely for however long the race was.
Yeah, it would have thrown. 45-minute race would have been pretty cool because it would have at least thrown a bit of strategy in there with the pit stops as well. So I think that's what we probably kind of need to try to look for next season is try fuel these things or get a fuel limit on these things like what we did with TCR, so that you have to do a stop, even if it's only for 2 litres or 3 litres. You're not going to make it home unless you do a stop, because that just opens the racing up that much more as well. especially being a fixed set series where we can say, okay, we'll start with, pick a number, start with 20 litres of juice so you can still get home on the first race with no issues, and then have your maximum fuel limit of 30 litres, so that, or 40 litres, whatever it needs to be, so that you can fill at any point of the race. You make a mistake on the first lap, you jump in the pits, you do your stop, and you get clean air. You don't battle, and you can actually make up a few spots. That's, I think, what really made the TCR series what it was when it was probably a little bit more popular than what it is these days. But yeah, I'd like to see that for next season in the 86s, that's for sure.
Well, there you go. You hit it from Chris Whitaker first. I wonder if anybody else on the committee is listening. We'll say goodbye to you now. Thanks for joining us in the comms box again. And good luck with the rest of your racing for the week.
No stress, boys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. We'll just say a quick thank you to all the sponsors at the GSRC which make this broadcast possible. We've got Waste Options, Blackout Electrical Solutions, who are sponsoring the Porsche Cup later tonight. Blackout Electrical, yep, there you go. Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, West Orange Motors, Estate Finance, Insurance and Wealth, Fisher Lawyers, Flash Graphics. And those are your sponsors for the GSRC in 2023 Season A. If you'd like to become a sponsor for the back end of this season or looking towards the next season, please just get in contact with any of our committee members. If you would like to support the GSRC a different way, you can buy some merch from the merch store. And we got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got bottle openers, we got stubbies, we got everything you need to get set up for summer or to see yourself through the winter that is coming around the corner with the lovely hoodies. So if you want to support the club and get some merch, please just go to the URL on your screen, https://merch.tgsrci.com, and go absolutely bananas. We're now going to take a break before we come back to bring you the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup live from Sandown International Raceway. For now, goodbye, and we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back everyone to the second part of our Wednesday night broadcast, the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup. We're back in Australia for you here tonight. We're at Sandown International Motor Raceway, home of some of the most spectacular supercars races that we have ever seen, and home of the race here tonight. The Porsche Cup is brought to you by Blackout Electrical Solutions. They are based in Brisbane, serving southeast Queensland. Then they are electricians specialising in commercial/industrial renovations and fit-outs, power systems analysis and switchboard replacements. On screen we've got the conditions here for you tonight. 18 degrees air temperature, track slightly warmer at 19 degrees, 58% humidity, 3 km/h wind. As always, the GSRC, the weather is perfect. But how long will that last? Because at this point, we've been promised that rain is going to be added to iRacing, and that really could spice things up in some of the league racing. Although I'll be interested to know what adoption it gets, because it's going to add a lot of chaos. Sandown's not the biggest circuit, it's only 3 kilometers long, but it has produced some great racing, some really tricky corners. For me, I particularly think the first corner is a highlight. It's so quick and yet slow. It seems quick, but it's not as quick as you think it is. It begs you to run off wide, and it's blind, really hard to judge your braking marker, and it leads to a great setup for the chicane that follows it, and some good racing. In the championship, Matty Dench has got a commanding lead of 103 points. Behind him though, there's a pretty good battle for the top 5 spots. We've got Shane Wright on 250, Dylan Shepherd on 227, Corey Lazarus, who has come the closest to beating Matty Dench at a race this season, on 223, then Alex Spinozzi on 219, Ben Pedersen on 214. That is your top 6. You then got Samuel Sproul on 200, in 7th, Leach, Freeman, Croydon, Barker, Merritt, Dawson, Corey Bennett, Rowney, Andrew Smith. Not much to choose between all those drivers, only a few points between each of them. We also have the Open Cup for you. So what we just brought you was the Elite Championship. This is the Open. Paul Wilson is at the lead of that, but only 2 points, with Gallagher right behind him. We'll of course bring you updates for that championship as we go through the race tonight. Dane Stalin is in 3rd place. He's on 264. It is the top 3 drivers. They are the top 3 drivers. They are the ones fighting for the championship across the last 3 rounds. We then got Bradley Carr, Callum Heinrich and Calvin Little behind them. They're really tight together, battling for 4th, 5th and 6th. We then got Robert McGrath, Christopher Ruddle, Brendan Van Ryn and Michael Plonis, Adam Tice, Michael Adder and Greg Paget. This is your grid here tonight. We've got not Dench on pole. Instead it's Andrew Smith who pips him by a 1/4 of a 10th of a second. Then we got Matty Dench in 2nd, Knight in 3rd, Rowney in 4th, Lazarus in 5th, Shepherd in 6th, Faulkner in 7th, Barker in 8th, Gallagher taking pole position in the Open split in 9th place, and then Sproul is in 10th. And just look at those times, big gap from 3rd to 4th place. We then got Croydon in 11th, Guy Leach in 12th, Shane Wright in 13th, Snadden taking 2nd position in the Open Championship with 14th, Dawson in 15th, Lawrence in 16th, Wilson in 17th, taking 3rd in the Open Championship, then Zach Christie, Gordon Ramsay and Calvin Little in 20th. We then got Bradbury, Van Ryn, Heinrich, Brunt, McGrath, Tice, Plinus, Ster, Paget and Newens. 32 cars line up on the long straight. Thankfully it's a long straight, otherwise it wouldn't all fit. Here we go. The engines are roaring. The lights are slowly turning on. And they're off. Poor start there from Jared Knight. He's going to lose multiple positions, getting absolutely swamped. Down 5 positions already. Make that 9, 10 positions. Just keeps falling down the field. Horrendous start. Oh, there's been contact on the straight. Car going straight into the wall. Other cars going wide as well. Gordon Ramsay involved in that. Brendan Van Ryn, the car that's been sent into the wall. Another crash as well there, involving 3, 4, 5 cars. It looks like a Sharp IT entry. We've got what looks like one of the Beam Boss bros in there. Let's see who's down the field. Down the field, we've got Brunt, Tice, Newens, Lawler, Heinrich, Van Ryn, Ramsey, Sagasar, who got a fantastic win in the Toyota GR86s a little bit earlier tonight. All looking like they might have been involved. There is a big gap from Paget in 22nd to the next car, so I think Paget might be the lead of those that have crashed. But at the front, Andrew Smith stayed ahead of Dench, and he's got Dench right behind him. They've already pulled a second on Corey Lazarus, one of the strongest drivers in this series, running the Fisher Door Lawyers liveried car. Then they've got Dylan Shepard right behind him, a second behind Corey Lazarus. Gallagher 2.2 seconds behind Shepard. Gallagher in the open split, running 5th overall, having a fabulous race so far, but he's under a lot of pressure. He's got Samuel Sproul within a 10th of a second behind him, then Faulkner, Rowney, and Leach all within half a second of each other, and then Snadden currently rounds out the top 10. Snadden another one in the open class. Gallagher falling down a couple of positions. He's now in 8th place. Still in 8th, side by side with Guy Leach. They are swapping positions every time I look at my timing screen, and it looks like Leach is going to finalise the move and get ahead of Gallagher. He's now got a bit of breathing room, a second ahead of Brett Barker, and it is essential for Gallagher's race that he maintains that, keeps pace with Guy Leach, and doesn't fall any further downfield, lest he fall into the clutches of Snadden and Bradbury, who really want to get that open class win. And then we've got Wilson, who, if I remember right, is in the lead of the championship. He is in 15th. He is 4th in the open class, which is one of Stefan Lawrence in the Riot Sim racing car, going wide there, locking at the brakes. Of course, there is no ABS in these cars. There is no traction control. These are difficult beasts to handle. It's not a surprise we're seeing another car, Brett Barker, go off track at the same point. It's a really tricky braking zone. It's very easy to snatch your brake and then off track, particularly if you were in the middle of a battle and you're not quite on your preferred line. Newens, Lawler and Little have all dived into the pits. I believe they may be out of this race. This is the sprint race, not the feature race. They do not need to make a stop in this race. Their fuel is plenty to get them to the end, and if you don't want to, you want to get into that top 10 so that you can be in the top 10 at the start of the second race after the reverse grid is applied. Smith still leads up front ahead of Matty Dench. Corey Lazarus has caught back up. The gap was over a second. It's now only half a second between Lazarus and Dench. It is a 4-car battle at the head of the field, because Shepard is also within a second of Corey Lazarus. They then got 3.8 seconds back to Samuel Sproul. Who is that going off the track? It's whoever was ahead of Brett Barker. Looks like Guy Leach. We saw Guy Leach earlier on battling with Gallagher for 8th place, so he's fallen down the order. I think he must have had an incident before that one we've just seen, because he only lost 3 or 4 places there, but he is down in 20th position. Looks like that's a mistake. That's going to let Corey Lazarus take the lead of the... No! Contact! Andrew Smith was in the lead of the race. Must have made a mistake somewhere, because we're cut to seeing Corey Lazarus in the lead of the race. Then Corey Lazarus and Andrew Smith were side by side, both going off track, leaving Matty Dench to take his normal position at the head of the field. However, he definitely has not had it all his own way in this race. I'll be interested to see whether he can get away now that he's out front, or whether Lazarus, Shepard and Smith can fight back. So we've got Matty Dench first. Dylan Shepard also made 2 positions there, got past the battling Lazarus and Smith, who looks like there was a little bit of contact there again, maybe. Not sure, might just have been Lazarus by himself. We'll have to have another look, but either way, the end result is Lazarus falling down behind Smith by about a second now. They are going to start working together if they are going to catch back up to Shepard and Dench, because that gap is out to 1.7 seconds from Shepard to Smith. We're now looking at Paul Wilson. He is in that championship battle at the front of the open class. He currently finds himself in 13th, 4th position in the open field, but he's got 2 of his open field classmates just in front of him, Gallagher and Bradbury, and he will be looking to make those positions. We see a car there diving off the pitch. It's Gallagher! What's that? What happened there? Or did he have a little bit of a touch?
It's very easy to look up and run. He was right on the inside. I think he just missed his braking point, just gone way deep, and just done well not to get collected all quickly on the way through.
Yeah, so just snatching his brakes, getting it all wrong, heading into that left-hander, thankfully avoiding everybody and getting on the brakes before he hits the wall, but losing a heap of positions there, down in 22nd position, which is in 6th place in the Open Championship. Not what he will have wanted, and that leaves Snadden in the lead of the Open Championship. We're now going to have a look at what happened at the start of the race. So I think there must have been a touch there between Van Ryn and Connors, right? Might have been dare I say, a bit of net code. And then, yeah, cars going off trying to avoid it. Other chaos on the inside. All three being boss boys looking like they were involved there. So we're looking at Jared Knight here. And now we're going to a replay of Zach Christie in the Supernova Motorsport entry. Just carrying too much speed into that first corner, spinning, going off. Managed to get it insulated on the track. Having to wait car after car to come past before he can get back on safely. Such a tricky corner, that first corner. It's blind, you can't see the exit. We've seen Lars Baxter just getting onto the curb and settling the car. That's at the chicane, so that's effectively turn 3, I believe. We're now watching Lachlan Lawler cutting that curb. Oh, getting unsettled there. You can take that curb.
I think he already had damage in it, so he couldn't control the car.
Ah, okay, yeah, if you already had damage, then that would make sense, because yeah, you can definitely ride that curb very, very safely, and you'll see pretty much every car riding that curb if they thought to try it out. We're now looking at Ben Faulkner. So at some point, Corey Lazarus has lost a few positions. He was in 4th position. He's now down in 7th. Ben Faulkner, he's got Samuel Sproul right behind him and Magnus Rowney in 6th. Samuel Sproul, one of the bigger movers so far this race, up 5 positions. So look at here. So this is Corey Lazarus and Smith's contact earlier on in the race. So they had a first contact there, second contact there at the chicane. Neither wanted to give an inch and both losing out. And that was how the two of them lost first and second, which became 3rd and 4th, and now is 3rd and 6th, Corey Lazarus. While I'm showing the replay, getting back 1 position, going from 7th to 6th, as we saw Samuel Sproul, not Samuel Sproul. Brett Bradbury in the background there, cutting that little chicane there completely rather than just riding the curb. I think he might have damage because he's just pulled out to the cars in front, car behind him go past. We're now watching Alan Dawson in the Riot Sim Racing entry. He is putting pressure on Paul Wilson, trying to, well, get past him. What else would he try and do in a race? He's not going to do it into the first corner. Or is he? No. He's going to stay as close as he can. However, you can make an overtake through this chicane if you get it right. Who's that that's gone off? That's Shane Newens. Shane Newens, towards the back of the Open Championship, I think he may have been already lapped. I didn't see a car going down my timing screens there, as we watch these 3 cars going side by side. Huge move, someone's got the brakes up there. That's Faulkner, so that's Magnus Rowney. They're going off track there. Just locking his brakes in the heat of battle. 3 of them basically going side by side through the chicane. Really hard to pick your braking points. You want to leave as light as possible and just catching the brakes going off. But doing so sensibly, making sure he didn't impact the other cars around him. And that's meant that Corey Lazarus and Samuel Sproul and Ben Faulkner have all got past. And they were able to continue their battle and not lose too much time trying to avoid him. Magnus Rowney is now in 7th place. He is 5 seconds behind Samuel Sproul, just about. Not quite, and he's got 5 laps to get back, so unless he can go a second lap quicker than cars in front, it's now a bring it home job and don't lose any more positions. Behind him you've got Stefan Lawrence and Shane Wright in 8th and 9th. You've then got Dane Snowden, who's in the lead of the open race currently. He's in 10th spot, 1.85 seconds ahead of Wilson. We'd now cut back to the battle for 4th place between Faulkner, Lazarus and Samuel Sproul. Only 3/4 of a second separate the 3 of them. Corey Lazarus looking there, can I go inside, deciding no, he's already had a bit of contact this race, so he may be a little bit more trigger shy, wait for a more open opportunity to get past, rather than trying to force the issue, because otherwise he may have been higher up in this race. He adopted an turn earlier. Look how wide he's getting on the entry there, compared to the car ahead Ben Faulkner. Ben Faulkner taking a very defensive line. He doesn't seem to believe he has the pace to just drive away from Corey Lazarus, who's taking a defensive line, trying to make sure Lazarus does not have a good opportunity to get past, because you just feel like if he does open the door, Lazarus is going to go for it. So he's going defensive nice and early, making it very clear what he's doing, and leaving it all up to Lazarus to make an opportunity happen. Let's see what happens at the end of the straight. Braking, get onto this curb here. Now you're braking into this tricky, braking on a diagonal line to open up this corner here. One of the key corners on the circuit, because if you get a good exit, you can make a move down to this final chicane here. All over the first curb, not touching the second curb, touching the curb on the outside. Lovely line through there. You can see how we compromised the first corner to open up the second corner, because the second corner in that chicane is the important one. It's the one that leads into this nice back straight. You're better off compromising your time on entry into the first corner and then gaining it back on exit from the second. Takes a tight line from there, gets on that power a lot earlier, almost puts him alongside into the chicane, but not quite. And he wasn't in position to effect the putback. And same with Sproul, going nicely along with this battle as well. He's definitely in this fight for fourth place. Out in front, the battle for the lead has all been the second, but the battle for second is absolutely on. Dylan Shepherd and Andrew Smith go side by side, and there's contact! Andrew Smith and Dylan Shepherd, Dylan Shepherd just running over the tarmac and getting away with it, but Andrew Smith in the wall. Third contact in the race. Look at to win out eventually. A episode of door-to-door contact was going to lead to somebody being in the wall, and that time it was him. Alan Dawson going side by side there with Dane Snellen. Absolutely excellent racing for both of these guys, getting through cleanly. There's a bit of a battle pack behind them. Lap 12 of 14 now, so only a few laps remaining. 2 mix and low takes. Braden Sagasa making an overtake there. He's currently in 17th place. He's up 15 from the starting position, so he's definitely feeling confident after his win in the GR86s in the feature race here tonight, and now he's looking to move up in the Porsche Cup and try and get into a position where he can hassle the top 10, perhaps in the feature race a bit later on tonight, only 5 or 10 minutes away, because we're right near the end of this race, lap 12 of 14. Now look at Andrew Smith, after his collision, has rejoined it in 6th place. He's in a battle with Magnus Rowney, who was also in a collision. Side by side again there, and Magnus Rowney going off track, putting the chicane, and sitting in behind Andrew Smith. Slow down Magnus Smith.
If Magnus there, he would have got to slow down, just got that 7 corner there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
He's just lost the rear at the apex there, and he got a little snappy. It's lucky he just have the overlap, because otherwise it would have been an airplane crash for him and Andrew. But they got away with that one.
Let's see if he serves it down this straight.
I think he's already done it. He basically almost pulled up coming out of the turn, out of Daniel on the road there.
Alright, so did it nice and early, just got it out of the way. Excellent. So now we just having a look at Corey. Nope, not looking at Corey Lazarus. We're now having a look at Ben Croydon. He's in the middle of a big battle pack here. Dane Snowden at the head of this battle pack. Then got Paul Wilson in 14th, Brett Barker, Guy Leach, and Braden Sagasa all involved in this race. So Sagasa is the purple car at the back, and they got Guy Leach in the dark blue car ahead of him, and then got that sort of grey car, which is Brett Barker. The white car is Paul Wilson, and then got Croydon ahead of him in the
It's like a teal and silvery car.
Yeah, teal and silvery car. Yeah, I couldn't
dark,
figure out what
it's like a dark teal.
Yeah, dark teal. That's probably the right way to describe it. 4 cars of similar colour in the middle of this battle pack. Brett Barker is the one focused on screen. He's got Paul Wilson ahead of him, getting a nice exit there. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to get him an easy overtake into the chicane. No, not even enough to get him alongside. Instead, he'll compromise the first one, try and get on the power earlier, coming out the second one, maybe get himself in a position to go alongside of the first corner, but not quite. I think Paul Wilson just taking that too well there, not giving Brett Barker a look in. Ahead of him, Ben Croydon looking at Snadden, who's this off the track. This is Samuel Sproul. So Samuel Sproul was running in the top 10. I don't think he's going to top 10 by the end of it. Looks like all the cars are going to avoid him, and yeah, he decides to reverse a bit further into the grass just to make sure anybody running a bit wide doesn't get caught up in that. And we've got 2 cars off the track. I'm not sure who the other car is that's gone off track there.
781, he went wide by himself in the background.
Yeah. So two separate incidents playing out there. And now back at he's got Magnus Rowney right behind him again. Looks like they're getting caught up in traffic here. So the car getting out of the way, and getting out of the way from both. Smith compromising to that corner. Corey's off. So that's Corey is second. Oh, we missed the Matty Dench taking the checker flag. Matty Dench crosses the checker flag for the win. Dylan Shepard in second. Faulkner in third. Smith and Rowney. Apologies, we just couldn't take our eyes off this. They're going to go side by side across the line, and Smith's going to get it by 0.03 on second over Rowney in the end. Corey Lazarus got from 4th to 6th in the last couple of the corners. You then got Shane Wright in 7th, Stefan Lawrence in 8th, Alan Dawson in 9th, and Jared Knight takes pole position for the feature race tonight by finishing 10th in race 1. Matty Dench didn't have it all his own way. He was in 2nd place at the start of the race. Andrew Smith getting a fantastic start. He then fell behind Corey Lazarus, but Corey Lazarus and Andrew Smith got into a bit of contact that took them both out of the running for the top 2 and left Dench and Shepard 1st and 2nd, which is how they remained for the end of the race. Smith and Lazarus having much more dramatic races from there on in, finishing in 3rd and 6th place respectively. But these two were the class of the field. They kept it clean, they had fantastic pace, and they finished a deserved 1st and 2nd. In the Open Cup, Snellen took the win in race 1, followed by Wilson. So there you go. Here is the results for the Porsche Elite Cup for race 1. Dench takes the win, followed by Shepard. Faulkner rounds out the podium. Smith and Rowney are in 4th and 5th, with Lazarus in 6th. Wright takes 7th, Lawrence in 8th, Dawson in 9th, and Knight in 10th. Croydon finished in 11th with Barker behind him. Leach is in 13th with Sagasar making up a heap of positions to finish in 14th place. He then got Sproul in 15th, Ramsey in 16th, and Lawler in 17th. In the Open Championship, Snadden took the victory, followed by Paul Wilson in 2nd, only 0.8 of a second between them at the line. And then got Brett Bradbury in 3rd and Stephen Gallagher in 4th. Van Ryn finished in 5th place. And then had Zach Christie in 6th, Callum Heinrich in 7th, and they are the only open split drivers that finished on the lead that lap. He then had a duo of Bean Boss Racing boys with Paget leading tight home in 8th and 9th. Bonus then rounds out the top 10 of the open split. Baxter was in 11th, Little in 12th, Newens in 13th, McGrath in 14th, and Brunt finishing in 15th. Many laps down, having retired early on in the race, I think on the first lap. So there you go, that was the sprint race of Blackout Electrical Solutions. Thankfully, because that was so much fun, we've got another race for you. The feature race, the main event of the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup. Blackout Electrical Solutions are based in Brisbane and serving southeast Queensland. They are electricians specialising in commercial and industrial renovations and fit-outs. They also perform power systems analysis and switchboard replacements. So if any of those fill your needs, get in contact with Blackout Electrical Solutions. And you can get in contact with them through Corey Lazarus. Yeah, it was a pretty spicy race 1. Had to work for it, did Matty Dench in race 1. Hopefully, he's going to have to work for it again in race 2. A longer race, which tends to be where he specialises. He is an absolute demon when it comes to saving fuel and still going quick. So hopefully he's going to get some good medals. We'll just quickly run through the rest of the sponsors here tonight. No, we'll run for the grid instead. Not enough time. We've got Jared Knight on pole after finishing 10th in race 1. We've then got Alan Dawson alongside him on the first row. Second row, we've got Lawrence and Wright. And then on the third row, we've got Lazarus and Rowney. On the fourth row, we've got Smith and Faulkner. And rounding out the top 10 are Shepard and Matty Dench. In 11th and on pole position for the open split is Dane Snadden. Alongside him is Ben Croydon, who has Wilson behind him, coming second in the open split. Then got Brett Barker, Guy Leach and Braden Sagasar. Brett Bradbury is then behind them, with Stephen Gallagher alongside him. Samuel Sproul and Brendan Van Ryn round out the top 20. We can't bring you the rest of the grid because there's no time, because the race is about to start. All the cars are on the grid, the engines are roaring and the lights are on your screen. They are away, and it's not a great start to second place.
He's going to fall down a
Oh,
lot.
Jared's gone again.
It's Jared 9.
It's
Yeah.
two bad starts in a row for Jared. Oh, no.
That is way too fast going into there. One of the looked like a Vermilion Motorsports entry car, absolutely ploughing into another car there. Not what we want to see. Looks like he just got his braking all wrong. Bricks are locked up and he smashed into a car. Corey Lazarus looking like he's a victim of that, as is Bradbury, as is McGrath and Brunt. All these cars going out. Shane Wright, also another car that's gone off and fallen down the field. As is Ben Faulkner. I think Faulkner might have been the car that caused that, because I know Faulkner drives for Vermilion Racing. I'm sure we'll get you a replay as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think Faulkner's the only Vermilion hits tonight, so it must have been.
Yes, so at the front of the field, we've got Stefan Lawrence. He's up 2 spots. You then get Dawson in second, Smith in third.
Oh, yeah, Ryan's in racing 1 2. Look out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we haven't seen that here before, but we've got Lawrence and Dawson, teammates, first and second. Will they be able to work together and break away from the rest of the pack? We've got the work cut out for them because we've got a very, very fast Smith and Rowney right behind them. Then it's Shepherd and Dench, your second and first place cars from race 1. All those cars up 4 places. Jared Knight, we saw he had a horror start, but he made a few places back because of the chaos that occurred in front of him. Jared Knight in 7th position. You then got Croydon, Snadden and Barker rounding out the top 10. Snadden is the lead car in the Open Championship at the end of lap 1. We've just seen another car go off the track. That's Kelvin Little. He's just gone wide there. Another car going off. That's Ben Faulkner. Looked like just carrying too much speed for turn 1 and then ending up on the inside. Again, didn't see all of that instant. That's just a guess of what happened. I can see anywhere. I can imagine you ending up there. Unless there was contact, but I don't think there was. White and Bradbury are in the pits taking a first lap pit stop after I shouldn't get any trouble, or perhaps even retiring. Certainly Bradbury looks to have retired, given that he's been in the pit for over almost 2 minutes now. But there's still plenty of cars on track. The 2 White racing cars, first and second. Lawrence leading Dawson currently. Then got Smith and Rowney right behind them. Nothing's changed there. Smith with a bit of a gap to Rowney. Rowney 3/4 of a second behind Smith, whereas Smith and Dawson are both within half a second of Stefan Lawrence, who is in the lead of this race. Manny Dench in 6th. So let's have a look what happened. Was there contact? No, he does just outbrake himself. And then Corey, did Lazarus spin by himself, or was he also touched? I wasn't focusing on this car, so if we get another replay the same, we've seen what happened to Faulkner, and I'm not sure what car he took out.
I think it was Nunes.
That's
slow down cars.
That's Shane Wright is taking out. It's not a entry. Lazarus getting beaten up there. He's not facing away in the middle of the track, which is not where you want to be. But Inston's all over the place. I don't even know where to look. So that's 2 cars coming together there. That's Brett Bambury and another car. Just too close to each other on the straight, getting hooked up with each other, and both cars going off the track. What's happened here? So this is Magnus Rowney. His car is massively broken. You can see how unstable it was there, just struggling to keep going in a straight line. We're now looking at Shane Newens. Gonna touch the curb. Yeah, it's been really easy to do that. It's a horrible place to spin because it's so not wide. Yes, there was turn 1 drama. Paul Nichols looked like Ben Faulkner just getting his braking wrong and then hitting Shane right, and then separately looks like Lazarus had an incident as well, ended up pointing the wrong way on the exit of turn 1. Everybody happened to go around to avoid him. I think that caused another couple of cars to crash. And yeah, chaos. Andrew Smith, is he going to door bang again?
No,
let's have a look. No, side by side.
Clean move the stop to see a place.
Excellent overtake. Brilliant overtake there. Getting side by side, fair racing between the 2, and getting a second place for Dylan Shepherd, who manages to hold on.
Lead. As we'll come back.
Yes, he's got the lead. Goes around the outside of Stefan Lawrence. Stefan Lawrence going to try and hang it on here through the chicane. No, tucks in behind. I think that's going to move. We've seen a couple of cars trying to go side by side through there. It does not work.
So there you go, we've got Andrew Smith is in the lead of the race. He's got Stefan Lawrence behind him, and then Dylan Shepherd in third, Matty Dench in fourth. Alan Dawson was in second, he's fallen down to 6th place.
This should be interesting. Alan had to see him in qualifying. He had the pace to get pole position over Denchi. Now he's got clear track. Is he going to be able to upset the apple cart and get a win over Denchi on merit?
He might be able to. Denchi certainly has his work cut out for him. Of course, the big factor that we don't know is fuel. Is anybody in this pack saving their fuel? There's so much racing that I can't believe it's happening, but people in this series are the things I can't believe before, particularly when their name rhymes with Matty Dench. And we're seeing there, in the blue and yellow car, Jared Knight, after a terrible start, a second terrible start in 2 races, coming back strongly. He's in 4th place now. Now that he's made that overtake, he's in 4th place, and it looks like that overtake is going to be finalised. I don't think he's going to be able to get back through at the chicane. Only Dench, Shepherd and Smith ahead of him. So we've got Smith, Shepherd and Dench, 1, 2, 3. They were the top 3 in the first race, and they are now top 3 in the feature race after only 6 laps of overtaking. We've then got Jared Knight in 4th, recovering from a poor start and doing so very, very well. Stefan Lawrence in 5th, Alan Dawson in 6th. They're the 2 wire racing cars. They were 1st and 2nd. They had a lot of fun at the front of the race, I'm sure, but just not quite fast enough to stay there. And we're seeing a lock up there for Lawrence ahead of Dawson, holding up his teammate a little bit. And I think they're both going to be fighting now and potentially under pressure from Ben Croydon. Ben Croydon looking to make the most of their mistake. We've seen both riot cars lock up in the last 2 laps. A cork in the bottle, I think it's fair to say, within this top 10. So there's been a collision now. Paul Wilson, he's one of the championship leaders in the open class. He's got a lot of damage, can't control the car. I think he's going to have to get a tow, and he may effectively be out of this race. Let's have a look what's happened here. So we've got Paul Wilson ahead of one of the pink cars.
That's Brendan Van Ryn.
Brendan Van Ryn. Was there a touch there, or did they just both lock up?
I think it was a little touch from Brendan, just a little one.
So a little touch from Brendan, and then Paul Wilson getting all locked up, getting off the track. I don't think there was actually any damage there. The car looked like it was behaving a bit weirdly, but I think it was just struggling for grip on the grass. Magnus Rowley there pulling to a stop. So we've got a few cars out of this race. Bradbury, McGrath, Brunt, Faulkner, Baxter and Rowney all out of the race. Shane Newans, I think, is still in the race. I'm not 100% sure. And then Shane Roy looks like he's still in the race, but is a lap down after getting taken out in the first corner.
Yeah, I may need to give the guys an apology because we're using the Elite Speed server. I may have forgot to add a fast track race. Because normally when the Elites are by themselves, they have no faster races than sprint races. And yeah, so sorry about that, guys.
So if you are in the open class and we're expecting to have a fast repair but did not have one, apologies, is because all the cars have been put into the one split, and the Elite Club usually doesn't run with a fast repair. So apologies. Is that something that can be corrected, or is it just when we're
not once the service started? If I realised before the service started, I could have changed it. But yeah, now it's too late.
So there you go. Just a mistake there, and we'll look to get that rectified for the next round of the championship.
But yeah, definitely, because I think we got next week. I think it's a 1 hour race, I think, and then we got the super sprint round for the final, where we have 3 races. So big final week in 2 weeks.
Yeah, big final week. I'm very much looking forward to it. We've had great racing all season, and we've got a bit of good racing here with Dylan Shepherd and Matty Dench going at it, but Matty Dench coming out the victor there and taking 2nd place from Dylan Shepherd. Now unleashing the tap to go chase after Andrew Smith, who is 2 seconds ahead out in front. Car going off in the foreground there. We've got Lachlan Lawler having a fight with Adam Tice there for 14th, 15th. Lachlan Lawler up 17 positions from his starting place. Starting in 31st, is now in 14th place. He's having a lot of fun out there, making a lot of overtakes and showing some half decent pace on the fastest lap of 1 minute 9 dead, which is pretty much a little bit slower than everyone ahead of him and a bit faster than everyone behind him. So he's got himself back to where his pace probably should put him. Another car that's made a lot of positions is Braden Sagasa, finishing what he started in the first race. Went up 17 spots in the first race, is up 10 in this one so far, up 6 in this one so far, and is in 10th position. So he'll be pretty happy with that. Andrew Smith getting on the curb and put himself into spin, and that's cost him the lead of the race. Matty Dench now in the lead, Andrew Smith in second, and he's gone off again there. No, this is the same incident. So he got out of shape on the entry into the chicane, went across the curb, and then that made it really hard for the to get it. That put him all out of shape for the left-hander, and he went on the curb again, and it just shot him towards the outside. He had to get on the brakes to avoid hitting the wall.
Now it's going to be it's going to be an uphill challenge now, because now he's actually going to try and pass Denchy now.
Yeah, it's really hard to pass Denchy. Really hard to keep up with him. He'll do well if he can just stay in touch with him. However, that's not all he's got to worry about, because he's got a very fast Dylan Shepherd and Jaron Knight right behind him now, looking to pile on pressure. 10 laps into this 23-lap race. I wonder when we'll see pit stops start to make their mark on this race.
And props out to Snap too. He's first guy in a 9, so all these guys in front are doing 8s. A few guys behind him are also doing 8s, but his consistency has got him not only the lead of his open split, he's up in 8th place overall. So it's a good run here from Snap. Just keeping his nose clean and just keeping in that draft and keeping with the big boys.
Yeah, absolutely excellent race from Snap. You're absolutely right. And not only is he in 8th place, he's in a 6-car battle pack, and he's not far off 5th place here. There you go, there's the battle pack. So you've got Lawrence and Dawson, the 2 Riot cars at the front of that. You've then got Barker there and Snadden right behind his teammate, although it looks like he's just about to lose the position.
And no teammates. Similar liveries on teammates though.
Similar liveries but not teammates. Yeah, you're right. Now I've seen them side by side. No, I've seen the side profiles of both. They're just similar liveries, but not the same. So there you go. Guy Leach now ahead of Snadden, who's Sagasa right behind them in 10th place. And then they've got a little bit of a gap to Sproul and a big gap to Gallagher. His second car in the open field, running pretty much by himself. He's 4 seconds behind the car ahead, which is Sproul, and 13.6 seconds behind Lawler in 13th place. Zach Christie's just gone off the track, and he's losing positions in the open split. I think he was in 3rd in the open split. He's now down to 5th in the open split. Maybe that's 6th because Polonus has just overtaken him as well. Not sure if it was by himself or if there was a bit of contact there. Have to wait and see.
It's probably smart by Dane. He's in the pits. He's doing his stop. I was going to say he can just latch on the back of these guys. He doesn't need to race them because they're not for overall position, just for this more bragging rights position. But as far as his championship is concerned, he can just use them to try and drag him along. So there's no point in him battling on these guys because there was nothing in it in the long run for him. So smart move, get the pit stop. He's stop out of the road, get some clear track, head down, and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's coming out of the pits. He's going to come out in 2nd place in the open split, still having made a pit stop and having been the only person in the open split that looks to be in that fight towards the front of the open split that has made his pit stop. So he's looking very, very strong here, just needs to keep it clean, and he's found, like you said, a bit of open track. He's got 1.5 seconds to the car ahead, which is Dawson, and then 3.8 seconds to the car behind, which is Wilson. So he's a clever move there, I think. So that was a good call. Couldn't have known that Dawson was going to pit on the same lap. Otherwise, he would have had lots and lots of open space. We're now watching Andrew Smith. He's fallen further behind Dench. Dench last lap of 107.8.
He's done 2 sevens.
108.2.
He's done 2 sevens in a row, so he's pulled the trigger.
Yeah, he's pulled the trigger. Half a second lap quicker than anybody else. Smith struggling to get away from Shepherd and Knight. Hasn't dropped them at all. Shepherd and Knight looking very dangerous. One mistake here, and he made his position. Now we just seen the mistake, getting up all over the curves again, similar to what he did last time that ended up in spin, but sorting himself out a bit better before this final corner, and he couldn't get to the curve because there was a car on his inside in the form of Shepherd, who is now in 2nd place, although he might be about to get bumped. Draft from Knight getting out the throttle. And then he goes ahead, goes side by side. Smith trying to go around the outside there. That's brave. He's going to get on that curb. Both braking. Shepherd's going to have the inside, but Smith carrying more speed. Can he get it slowed down? Couldn't get it slowed down. Enough compromises exit far too much. And that's given Shepherd the position and has let Smith let Knight get alongside. Knight braking, trying to go around the outside here. That'll give him the inside for the second part of the chicane. Does he get the move done, or has Smith got the cutback? I don't think Smith's quite got the cutback here. We'll wait and see. thrown up the inside of the first corner. This is a man who is not afraid to go side by side into really, really fast corners. But not this time. He's decided he's going to back off, get through here cleanly, set himself up for the chicane where he's had had a couple of mistakes in the last 3 or 4 laps. And just try and make sure he gets through cleanly, and he'll put pressure back on a little bit later on. I'm absolutely sure of that. Shepherd now will look to break apart from these guys. He showed incredible pace in the first race, and he'll look to use that pace to get away. However, Knight has had a fantastic recovery, so we don't really know exactly what his pace is, because he had a bad start in the first race and had to recover. He had a bad start this race and had to recover. Thankfully, he's already done the recovery part, so now we'll see whether Shepherd can pull away or whether these 3 cars are going to be in a battle for the rest of the race. Dench, thanks to these 3 fighting, has really pulled out the lead. Now up to almost 6 seconds. These 3 cars doing times in 110s and 111s last lap. Manny Dench in the 107s, and in the 107s again this lap. Let's see what the time is this lap for the other 3. Andrew Smith diving into the pits, back into the 108s, so even with a little bit less battling, they're still over a second slower than Manny Dench out in front. Interesting to see Smith going for the pit. Wonder if he's found a gap to put himself into, so that he can show his pace for the rest of the race, because if he can show his pace and these 2 get fighting, then he may have just made a move that will get him second place. But you can see if either of these drivers deign to respond or whether they go long. Quite a lot of drivers now making their pits, so I think we've hit the spot here over the last few laps where pitting starts to make a lot of sense. So the lead car of those that pitted is of course Smith. And then got Croydon and Lawrence who have pitted. Guy Leach, Dawson, Barker, Sprouse, Snadden all pitted, and as has Gallagher. Snadden now in the lead of the open split once again. He's got a bit of a lead over the guy in second place, which is Paul Wilson. Paul Wilson hasn't even pitted yet. And then Gallagher is the next car that has pitted in the open split. So he's got about 4 seconds on Gallagher. So it's fairly comfortable, but it's certainly not insurmountable if Gallagher can open the taps and really get some pace going. We're just watching a car lock up going into the corner. Calvin Little locking up, and then Guy Leach and the 2 right racing cars of Dawson and I'm wrong there because they're nowhere near each other on the track. Looked like Lawrence getting past at least. Now looking at Dawson, he is chasing down Guy Leach.
Shepherd's done his stop. He's just come out in front of Andrew, and they've come up behind lap traffic as well, so it's all on.
It is all on. Oh, that lap traffic not making it easy for them. Oh, there you go. Smith's going to give him a tap of the rear end for good measure. Try to get out of the way by slowing down on the exit. Not the best place to slow down, and catching Andrew Smith there because he's on the outside of Dylan Shepherd and didn't really have many places to go. Dylan Shepherd took his stop, managed to get out just ahead of Andrew Smith. They came into an incredibly tight battle, and thanks to a little bit of help from the back markers, he's ahead of Smith, but Smith not willing to let this go. He is going to fight as hard as he can for the last 6 laps of this race.
Jared Knight's in, so we should see him pop out with these guys in a second.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. These 2 got held up a little bit by the back marker. That may just cost them second and third place. Let's see where Jared
Knight on the move. Here he comes.
Jared Knight coming out the pit lane now. He'll be slow. Smith and Shepherd will be at full racing speed, but it's not going to help them. Knight gets into the first corner ahead of them, and he's got the pace. So Knight, he's not going to have much time. He's not going to have much space ahead of them though, because these guys are going to catch him up before his tyres are up to a racing temperature. That all leaves Braden Sagasake. He hasn't pitted, but he's now in second place in this race, up 14 spots. He'll have to pit, but he's running a really good lap times, 108.14, second fastest guy on the track. Manny Dench now pits. He will happily come out of the lead, I imagine. And indeed, he's already exited.
So Gas has gone for another lap.
Yeah, he is. So he's going for another lap. Has he done something very clever? Is he going to be able to make the end of the race? I can't imagine he is. There's no Dench is going to make the end. Oh, contact there on the straight. And the Brighton going into the wall at a high speed in the race. And that is Michael Plonus. Not sure what happened there. Looked like just misjudging, not leaving enough space between the two of them. And Plonus diving into the pits because I'm sure he's got a lot of damage there. Let's have a look what happened.
So he's run wide and dandy.
Slow there. I think just not realised there's a car.
I think he knew it was the other thing. He's misjudged the space left, so it's a little bit of an unfortunate, just a little bit of not enough room, and just got himself spun across the front of the green car there, unfortunately.
One of the things that's really hard to judge, particularly depending on your setup. If you're running a single monitor setup, in particular, it can be really hard to spot who's alongside you.
Oh, I know.
So that's Stefan Lawrence in one of the White racing cars. We saw him leaving the race at one point off the track. Hopefully, it doesn't look like he's got any damage though, so I think he'll be able to continue. And he's got Dane Sledden now right behind him. Let's have a look what happened.
Oh, I dirted it.
Oh! I did tap the wall. I say tap.
He's done
Shoved
well to get minimal damage out of that.
He has. That thing was fishtailing horribly. It looked like in the MotoGP when they're about to do a high side, and the back end just like.
Here we go. Watch the hand working.
Oh, I tell you what, it couldn't keep it under control, but that almost deserves props anyway, because he did well just to keep putting in somewhat of a straight line. That was insane.
He may need a new pair of chocks though.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, preferably a brown coloured pad just in case the same thing happens again. As I'm watching Andrew Smith, he's under so much pressure from Dylan Shepherd. Dylan Shepherd basically pushing him around the track. Darren Knight has broken through this pair a little bit. He's 1.5 seconds ahead, so I think he's just got a little bit more pace than them at the moment. Matty Dench just puts in the fastest lap with 5 laps to go at 107.4. Over half a second quicker, almost a second quicker than the rest of the field. While we're talking, Sagasa has made his pit stop and came out in 5th place, ahead of Ben Croydon.
Come together.
And they've come together, Smith and Shepherd.
That was a little clumsy there. Dylan left his nose in there and probably was not really near far enough up, so that could be a little bit of trouble.
Certainly could be a little bit of trouble. I'm sure we'll hear about it for the race once the.
He might readdress here. He's got Sagasa in between them now, so.
Sagasa, and also that's a legitimate place from the Sagasa. Sagasa is legitimately in 4th place. Might make his way onto the podium if Dylan Shepherd decides to redress.
Well, also Andrew's got a slowdown as well for going through the grass as well. So.
Oh, that's hard luck when you get a slowdown after getting into contact and having to go off the track. That really sucks.
Yeah, it's very annoying when you get slowed down for losing time.
Yeah. Sagasa looking to go around the outside of the chicane, gets it done. I thought we were going to go side by side. Actually had enough pace just to cut a front at the start of the chicane and really put the stamp on that position and say, no sir, this position is mine. Sagasa up from 16th place into 3rd on the podium. Could it get even better for him? I don't think so. There's quite a bit of time from him to Jared Knight, but what a drive from Sagasa to get from 16th all the way up to the podium positions. We're now looking at Alan Dawson. Alan Dawson is putting pressure on Guy Leach. These guys have been right next to each other for a lot of the race. Guy Leach getting it all wrong.
He just cut the corner, so he's going to have to slow down here. He's gone across the turn 2 chicane.
Yeah, getting it all wrong. Going across the chicane, compromising for the next corner, and now going to have to slow down.
Well, maybe you might not have cut enough to get a slow down. You might be right there, but it's definitely just slowed him down. But you might not have a time penalty because of it. So he's back up to speed now. So he looks like he's got away with that one. But lost one spot.
Because with a track like this, so once you make a mistake and you lose the flow, it's one of those tracks that makes you make more mistakes because you really need to be in the zone. It's so tricky that you get out of shape for one corner and all of a sudden it feels like every corner's not right, and it takes a lap or two without making a mistake before you start to get into that flow zone again. One man who is in the flow zone is Matty Dench, just doing fastest lap after fastest lap, 12.7 seconds in the lead. He's not going to let a bit of lap traffic bother him, and he's got 2 laps to go before he takes another victory in the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup Season 2023A at the GSRC. Dylan Shepherd is looking to take the podium position back from Brendan Sagasa though. Sagasa has not been able to pull away. The gap is now half a second and Dylan Shepherd will want that back. Jared Knight has solidified second. And then Ben Croydon is in 5th place, about 3.5 seconds behind this pair. Just saw Sagasa getting a little bit out of shape there, but not enough to give Shepherd an opportunity for the overtake. In the open split, looks like Dane Snowden is still in the lead of that split. He's still got 3 seconds over Gallagher. And then Wilson looking to bring home 3rd spot in the open split. If they can keep it clean to the end of the race. And Andrew Smith is now in, just to bring you into loop where Andrew Smith ended up after all that drama. He is now in 13th place and putting pressure on Stephen Gallagher to try and get back to 12th, and maybe, if he's lucky, could get into the top 10, but he does not have long to do it because it's the final lap. And Matty Dench is about to bring it home. Uses all of the track and a bit more at the final corner. There it is, Matty Dench with another victory, a 107.47 on the last lap. Not the fastest lap on that lap, but he got the fastest lap earlier, a 107.3, the only driver in the 7s. And it's not even just a high 7, it is a low 7, showing his class and his ridiculous speed in this class. Jared Knight brings home 2nd. Sagasa up 13 places, brings it home on the podium. Shepherd is in 4th, up 5 places, and Ben Croydon up 7 places into 5th place. So there'll be a lot of happy drivers on that podium. Behind them you had Barker, Guy Leach and Samuel Sproul, and then Stefan Lawrence running at top 10. Ain Snadden takes the victory in the open class, slaloming all over the road as he deserves to. Paul Wilson effectively locks in 2nd in the open class. He's still not finished the race, but he was the last car to finish on the lead lap, with Adam Tice bringing it home in 16th, Ramsey in 17th, Heinrich in 18th, and Paget in 19th. So Wilson will bring home 3rd in the open class. Gallagher was in 2nd, and Snadden took the win. So there you go, that was the feature race of the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup Round 8 2023 Season A at the GSRC. Pretty good race. We weren't sure how it was going to go. Dench didn't look as dominating as normal in the after qualifying in the first race. Didn't take pole position. That went to Andrew Smith. And we wondered whether there would be some competition. And there was a bit of competition, but the competition were all fighting each other. And then Dench managed to cut his way through, get to the front, and then once he got to the front and was able to unleash that pace, there was no catching him. So here you go, this is the results for the Porsche Elite Cup feature race. Dench takes the victory with Jared Knight in 2nd. Sagasa, up 13 places, rounds out the podium. Shepherd is in 4th, followed by Ben Croydon and Alan Dawson in 5th and 6th. Barker comes home in 7th, with Leach and Sproul behind him, and then Stefan Lawrence running at the top 10. Smith was in the battle for the podium positions for much of the race, but there was contact and he came unstuck, bringing it home in 11th in the end. Then Lawler finished in 12th, Ramsey in 13th, Wright in 14th after getting taken out at the first corner. Lazarus in 15th, he had a spin at the first corner. Rowney in 16th, and then Faulkner, the instigator of much of that Turn 1 carnage, finished in 17th place after retiring. In the open split, Snadden brought home a pretty close win in the end, only 4 seconds ahead of Gallagher. The two of them a class of their own, miles ahead of Wilson, who was 31 seconds behind them in 3rd place. Then Tice finished in 4th place for Boss Racing, with Heinrich in 5th, Paget in 6th, Christie in 7th, Little in 8th, and Plonus rounding out the top 10. And then Shane Newlands taking home 16 points in 10th place, everybody else retiring and not being classified. So there you go, that was the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup feature race. It was a pretty good race, and one of the best in this championship, I think. And we're just going to bring in some of the drivers that put on a lot of the fun here tonight. So with us here for the second time tonight, we've got Braden Sagasa and then Jared Knight. Braden, up 13 spots into third place. Not bad.
Yeah, I forgot to qualify for that race. I was trying to ask my teammates for a setup, and none of them had a spare setup lying around. So I had to just use the low downforce one.
So even without a custom setup, you went up, was it 17 spots in the first race, I think?
I think it was 16 spots in the first race, yes.
And then another 13 in race 2.
Yeah, it was just all about survival into turn 1.
Oh, we're just watching that on screen now, pretty much coming to a stop, trying to survive, getting into a bit of contact, spinning round, and assuming you're going to get going again, and then the recovery starts from there.
Yep, I did hit someone, I didn't see them beside me, so I do apologise to whoever I hit. But yeah, that was
so much chaos.
Yeah, there was. Oh, I didn't know where to go. All I just saw was smoke, and I just prayed to the lords above that I could get through.
Yeah, and didn't quite get through the first lap, but then I had to say a pretty quiet race from then on. Only making double-digit overtakes.
yeah, it was that was sketchy through there. I just had to methodically make my way through the field, just try and make some clean overtakes, don't do anything silly, and see where I can end up.
So, what do you reckon was better, the win in the 86 or the podium in the Porsche?
I definitely think the Porsches, because I had to make my way through the field. But the 86 win is still at the near the top of the list.
Yeah, overall a night that you can definitely go home happy from, I think. Definitely if you've got some ice cream or a bit of bubbly, I think it's time to get it out and celebrate.
Oh, absolutely. It was a great night of racing. Shout out to the GSRC guys for putting on this broadcast, and to the GSRC members for making it such a great series.
Excellent. Thanks for the thank yous. I'm sure everybody listening appreciates the thanks to your fellow racers for making it fun.
Yep.
We'll move on now to Jared Knight. Jared, 2 tough starts in both races, but good recovery in the second in particular.
Yeah, it'd be a lot better in these things if I could actually walk it off.
What happened at the start? Did you just misjudge it? I don't remember seeing too many bad starts at the rest of the rounds.
Yeah, no, I've got a dual clutch, but I decided to use the foot clutch for the first race, and just I don't know what happened, just missed it, and lit it up, and got absolutely swallowed, and really had to work for that P10. I decided to use the dual clutch for race 2, and didn't get me any better a result. But bit of a longer race. I knew if I sort of just didn't make any mistakes from that point, we should be good for a good result.
I think it almost might have been a blessing in disguise in the second race, because the guy that went into the first corner in second didn't come out of the first corner in second.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining, I guess. But yeah, that was a good battle through the middle part of that race with Dylan and Andrew. Sort of in these cars, I was just trying to bide my time, just save a bit of fuel. I guess that's probably why I come out a little bit ahead of them after the stop. I'm not too sure what happened with them.
They were battling because Andrew Smith stopped first, and then Dylan Shepherd stopped the next lap, and they came out pretty much right beside each other, and then they came upon a bit of backmarker traffic, and it hindered them in particular at not the chicane, but the corner before the chicane. After you got the fast left-hander, and then the little chicane that you almost ignore, and then you got the 90-degree left-hander at the bottom of the hill. There they came across traffic, and because they were battling and they also had traffic, I think it slowed them down a bit. And I think you probably would have came out ahead anyway, just with the pit stop time difference. But I think that was why it was a second and not just like almost side by side.
Yeah, I purposely took on a bit less fuel, so when I saw them drop right off, that was pretty relieving because I was wasn't sure if I was going to make it home. I was able to sort of just coast it from there.
Yeah, fantastic job to finish in second place in the end. Yeah, awesome result. Well deserved after your recovery and then being in a tight battle with Shepherd and Smith for a lot of the race and coming out on top.
Yeah, cheers, Liam, and shout out to your efforts. I'm not too sure what nights you do apart from Wednesday nights, but good to
just Wednesdays at the moment.
Yep, yeah, no, it's good to have you on board doing Wednesday nights in the 86s, and cheers to Adam for being behind the scenes again.
Thanks heaps. Hopefully I can get racing at some point. Yeah, I think I've only done a couple of races in the GSRC over the last sort of 6 months or so that I've been involved. So hoping to change that pretty soon now my headset is working again. And maybe do some more broadcasts next season. We'll have to wait and see what broadcasts we've got and who's doing what.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice to see you out the track here and there.
No, you say that, we'll wait until there's a collision. Yeah, thanks heaps for coming into the comms box. We'll move on now to have a chat to our winner from tonight. Winner of both races in the end is, of course, no one other than Maddie Dench, a name you're all familiar with by now if you've been watching the broadcasts for the rest of the series. Looked like you had your work a bit harder for you there tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's not my favourite track, but pretty good race pace. Yeah, quali pace was bit left to be desired there, but race pace was good, and we just tried to buy our time in race 1 for the first couple of laps, and Corey looked like he wanted to be super racy, so we just let him by, and then bit of spicy stuff happened there in lap 3 or 4, wherever it was, and we inherited the lead and just ran away with that one.
Yeah, Lazarus and Lazarus and Smith, two drivers that do not want to leave an inch more than they have to. And going side by side, it was fun to watch, but I think that was always going to end in tears, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to be side by side coming into that first chicane there.
Yeah, it's very, very tough. I mean, it's tough enough when you're by yourself. So I dread to think what it's like going side by side in these cars. I did a few laps before the broadcast, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's definitely not an easy track in these cars with the lack of ABS and traction control. You've got to be so careful at every single corner.
Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah.
But yeah, so qualifying, I qualify Smith, and then at the start of the first race, we could just see you behind Smith and Lazarus. Like you said, you sort of let them go, knowing they're super racy, and were sort of ready to bide your time and wait a bit later in the race before trying to make a move. And then second race again, weren't sure, like it took a few laps for you to get to the front. Was that another conscious decision to sort of sit back and wait for things to play out? Or was it just difficult with everyone around?
Well, with the current tyre model for the cars, I find it, if you push early on, you can really overheat the tyres and hurt the tyres for late in the race. So for the first couple of laps, I generally just try to take it easy and let the tyres come up to pressure and stuff.
Yeah, that tracks. That is a pattern we've definitely seen from you over the season. Is it takes you're always quick, but it's really only sort of after 5, 6, 7 laps that you really start to put your foot down in the feature race in particular.
Yeah, well, the nicer you are to the tyres, the better they are coming in towards the end of the race. If you push super early, then your lap times will generally slow down as the laps tick by. But if you're nice and gentle and work the car up, and it just gets quicker.
So there you go. If you're a driver watching this and you want to know how many Dench does it, one of the things is to make sure you are kind to your tyres, and they'll pay you back later in the race. Excellent. 2 rounds left to go. I assume we'll see you at both of the rounds. Is there any other racing you're doing that you'd like to draw attention to at the moment? You looking to take part in that new championship that I saw on the Discord?
That was the first I'd seen of it, but I did sign up to it, yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Be good to see you spreading your wings, and I'm sure you're just as quick in all the other championships, and I'll be cheering for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. I think we'll bring an end to the broadcast here. Thanks heaps for joining us in the booth once again, Matty Dench. I'm sure we'll talk to you after another win next week, unless finally someone can put an end to your absolute run of terror and domination.
Yeah, hopefully they're starting to run out of rounds, so.
They certainly are. 2 more to go, and those 2 rounds will be brought to you over the next 2 weeks on Wednesday night here at the GSRC. Of course, those races are at Interlagos, where we have the Endurance, and then Phillip Island, where we have the Super Sprint. 3 races at Phillip Island to round out the championship, which is going to be a lot of fun. Interlagos and Phillip Island are 2 of the best tracks in the world, both quite similar with their undulation and their corners of various quite a large range of corners. They've both got 90-degree corners, they've both got longer corners, they've got corners that tighten as you go around them, they've got hairpins. Magnificent tracks that create great overtaking. Do not miss the finale of the Blackout Electrical Solutions Porsche Cup over the next 2 weeks. Other racing at the GSRC is tomorrow. We've got the Formula V and the TCR as always. The Formula V are at a to-be-announced location. And then it's been announced now. It's Road Atlanta for the Formula V, and then TCR are at Snetterton immediately after the Formula V starting at 7:45 and the TCR starting at 9. So please do get involved. They're great cars for racing. Then on Friday night we have the Dallara F3 at Akiyama starting at 8:45, and that will be 2 sprint races. Then, as always on a Saturday night, racing at Bathurst, because why would you race anywhere else when Bathurst is one of the very best tracks in the world? And on Saturday they are racing the BMW Z4 there. Then next week, as always, we have the Monday night broadcast of the GT4 followed by the GT3. The GT4 is at Watkins Glen Cup, and where is the GT3? We're bringing that to you as soon as we can. And this week we're going to be bringing you the Pro-Am and Amateur split rather than the Pros, so we can showcase all of the drivers in the GT3, not just the very fastest. And that will be a 1-hour race. Just doing some work to fix up that graphic for you. So I'll come back to that once it's all sorted. On Tuesday we have the Up and Comers series, which is a series dedicated to drivers with a I rating of under 1400, so they can race with people of their own skill and learn their trade without potentially interrupting the really fast cars around them and becoming a backmarker. There you go. GT3s are at Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, one of the most famous circuits in the world. I think it's definitely the best F1 circuit in the world. It's a huge circuit, again, huge range of corners, and of course we have that Radeon. We have the Radeon, which is just one of the best corners in the world. Even when they reprofile it, no matter what they do, it's still a fantastic corner, and thankfully they put back in the gravel trap on the outside, which is absolutely superb. So yes, then on Tuesday it is the Up and Comers, and that is at a... I'll see where that is. I'll come back to that on Wednesday night. We're back for the GR86 and the Porsche Cup. As we saw, the Porsche Cup is not at Sandown. It is at Interlagos, and it is an endurance round. And I'm not sure with the GR86. We'll bring that to you as well. Oh, maybe we'll give up on that. We'll sort that out later. You'll find out. You'll find that out if you watch the broadcast on Monday. You'll see where all the racing is for the rest of the week. If you want to support the GSRC before there's another broadcast, just go to the merchandise store, get yourself a hoodie for winter, keep warm, and support the GSRC so we can support you by bringing you racing on every single night of the week. And hopefully next season maybe even bring you more broadcasts.
So the up and comers, they released the track on the weekend just to try and keep the guys on their toes. So that's why we don't know yet.
There you go. Up and Comers track will be released on the weekend. I thought it was, but then the graphic was all.
Yeah, there was. I had a different graphic also open for some reason. I don't know what's going on there.
That's all right. These things happen. So yes, we just had the second round of the Endurance Championship. I believe that without PGZ there, who won it last season. It was a open slaver for the HDS Racing guys, who I think took home 2 of the podium spots at least. Sadly, I wasn't able to commentate on that due to other commitments, but I'm looking forward to being back in the booth and in the racing seat for the Red Bull Ring 6 hours on the 30th of April. So a solid month for everybody to prepare for that. That is going to be an absolute cracker in a few weeks' time after 2023 Season A ends for the rest of the championships. And that's everything coming to RC. We'll thank all our sponsors for tonight, none more so than Blackout Electrical Solutions, who are the broadcast sponsors for the Porsche Cup, and they are the reason we have the broadcast on Wednesday nights at all. So please do thank them, and if you need any of the services they provide, which are commercial and industrial renovations and fit-outs, power systems analysis, and switchboard replacements in South East Queensland and Brisbane, then do get in touch with them. Other club sponsors for 2023 Season A include Login Systems, who bring you the Endurance Championship, West Orange Motors, Estate Finance, Insurance and Wealth, Fisher-Door Lawyers, Flash Graphics, and Waste Options. Those are your sponsors for the GSRC in 2023 Season A. My name's Liam Banks. Producer for tonight has been Adam Lavis, and from all of us here at the GSRC, we'd like to thank you good night and see you next week.